Giants came here last year and spoiled the opener for Minnesota. I'm Jack Buck with Joe Theismann. Joe, training camp is over. They'll start hitting on strange people, and they like this. What about these two teams?
Well, Jack, you know, these two football teams have traditionally not had high-scoring football games. But I think in this football game, they're going to come out and put some points on the board. Minnesota realized last year that they played toe-to-toe with Detroit, and the game got away from them. Detroit would love a slow-down game, but I don't think that Minnesota's going to accommodate them.
Minnesota probably was the best non-playoff team in the league last year.
That's right. They were 9-7 last year and were the best playoff team. I don't think there's any question. Detroit 5-11 needs a lot of improvement. There are areas of improvement are Jerry Bell at the nose tackle and Reggie Rogers, their #1 choice on defense. They were 26th last year against the rush, 4th against the pass. That should help them today, but they're still going to have to play a tough defensive game to shut down Minnesota's wide open offensive attack.
On opening day, these two clubs meet here in Minneapolis, and Ben Dreith is the referee. He'll conduct the proceedings, and Detroit has won the toss, and so we'll see how the sophomore quarterback Chuck Long gets along. Gary Lee is deep, along with Carl Bernard. Bernard will be doing a lot of playing today from scrimmage as well, and the kickoff man is Chuck Nelson. Nelson, one of the more consistent kickers in the league. He used to be with the Rams. He's back here in Minnesota with a name like Nelson. He belongs here in this town, doesn't he?
That's right.
And on opening day, Detroit has won 6 of their last 7. When these two teams came out here, there was no untoward emotion. They were both very businesslike about it. Here is Nelson kicking off. And away we go with 16 games to be played. And that is Bernard taking it on the 15. It's well covered, but he breaks away. And what a good starting spot out at the 46-yard line. The tackle by Nelson, the kicker. So Chuck Long has plenty of room to operate. That was a 31-yard return. He has started 2 previous games, and they tell me he is terrifically accurate, Joe.
Well, he is an accurate passer. The thing about him, though, is going to be his question of staying in the pocket.
Let's check the defense for the Minnesota Vikings. They play out of the 4-man front. Martin, Thomas, Millard, and Dolman. Their linebackers, Howard, Studwell, and Solomon. And their deep backs for Minnesota are Henderson and Lee and Harris and Browner. 1 for 1 for Long, and across midfield it goes to Scott Williams. Here's the offense with which Chuck Long is operating after that 6-yard pickup. Gary James is out of the lineup today for the Detroit Lions. Here's the secondary of Minnesota that we didn't get to you earlier. Henderson and Lee and Harris and Browner. 2nd down and 4 with Jones and Williams in the backfield, and Jones carried. That's going to make it about 3rd and 1. Here's the Detroit offense with Chuck Long. Scott Williams, James Jones, Pete Manley, Jeff Chadwick are the wide receivers. Tight end is Rob Rubik, and up front it is Brown, Barrows, Mott, and Dorney and Stringer, and they are really strong over the right side. It was a 1st down carry to the 40-yard line of Minnesota. Manley and Chadwick, the wide receivers. They're both to the left side. And no gain on that one. That's the first sack, and that's by Doug Martin, the veteran defensive end, number 79. That's the thing about Long. The coach, Darryl Rogers, says he makes him hold his breath sometimes when he holds the ball, and holds it. But he did the right thing there.
Well, he did. And the important thing is when you get a young quarterback, you don't want him to throw an early interception or get a turnover to upset him. Take a sack, take a hit. It sometimes relaxes him.
So because he gained a yard, it is not a sack. It's 2nd down and 9. Pete Manley is to the left, Chadwick to the right. Pretty good protection. And the pass is caught by the running back, Jones, and he has the 1st down at the 25 of Minnesota, and they have the Vikings reeling early.
Well, I think what's happened here is Detroit came out and had such success last year running the football. Minnesota probably anticipated him doing it, but with Chuck Long, they want to get him baptism under fire. There you see him survey the field, pumps once, now he'll come out here right to you, out to his backs. The backs are going to be a very important part of the passing game this game, not only for Detroit, but also Minnesota.
First at the Vikings 25. David Howard made that last tackle. Pretty good drive after the good kickoff return. James Jones, and he doesn't get stopped in that cold fashion very often. No gain on that one. Second down and 10. And the tackle by Doug Martin, who's very much into this game in the early going.
Doug Martin has been helped out tremendously with the addition of Gerald Robinson. Of course, Chris Dolman, who was a linebacker last year, has moved over to play right in the middle of your screen, the other defensive end position. He has 4, 5, 6 speed. Now you figure a man that big, 6'5", 250 pounds, run that fast, you've got to put him someplace on the football field.
They're big up front. It's second down and 10. Looked like Minnesota was offside, and the pass swung out here to Jones. He's good for about 3, and another flag goes down on the other side of the field. A tackle by Keith Millard. Ben Dreith is the referee. Offside Minnesota. That call stands up, so it'll be second down and 5. And there's Jerry Burns.
5-yard penalty, second down.
Burns lived in Detroit, coached at the University of Michigan. He said he's the atmosphere coach along the sideline. The atmosphere is not very good at the moment.
Not right now, no. He compares himself a little bit in that respect to John Robinson, of course, with the Rams. They like to set the tone. They let their offensive and defensive coordinators handle each side of the field, and they feel really the atmosphere and the tempo of the game. They make suggestions, not call plays.
Second down and 5 at the 20. Manley and Chadwick both to the left for Long. Scott Williams in the backfield, and he runs with the ball, and he gets a first down. They were probably keying on Jones. You pretty much have to when you're on defense, don't you?
Well, you really do. You know, Jones has been the one. He hurt him last year so much, rushed for 174 yards. The thing about it is Lomas Brown gets out in front now. When you talk to the Minnesota people, they feel like Lomas Brown is Detroit's best offensive lineman. Now, he led the block that time and allowed Williams to make the yardage.
And it's the third first down the Lions have made on this drive to the Vikings 12-yard line. And with a fellow like Eddie Murray, they're already assured at some points if they can hang on to the ball. Still Manley and Chadwick both to the left. Crowd getting into it now. And he overthrew it. He threw it away as he wanted to get it to Rubik. He was well covered in the end zone by John Harris and Joey Browner, so he did the right thing again.
That's right. I mean, you know, here you see right in the middle of your screen, he makes the decision. Just to the left of your screen is Harris. Now, he comes up and moves to the left. The read for the quarterback is to go to the right. You see Rubik going down the middle. He just gets the ball a little high. Nice, safe position over Browner.
Browner put a little chuck into him down there, just enough to throw him off.
They do a little bumping down close, get away with it.
It is second down and 10 from the 12. Play again to Williams. It worked before, and it gets about 3 to the 9. What did Long tell you that his coach has told him? Don't lose the game.
That's exactly right. Go out on the football field, do everything you can to maintain your cool, but don't go out and make big mistakes that'll hurt us. That play there was an old throwback to the Statue of Liberty. Instead of just holding the ball behind him, you see the quarterback pump fake a little bit, hand off to the back coming around with the lineman leading, and try and create almost like a reverse type of an atmosphere.
Studwell is out, and they put in Reggie Rutland and Neil Gugamos as the extra defensive backs on 3rd and 7. The Vikings would like to hold Detroit to a field goal here. And incomplete. Heavy coverage, no flags. Intended for Pete Manley in the end zone, and he was whacked by Reggie Rutland, the extra back, the rookie out of Georgia Tech, number 48. Watch him.
Well, actually, he'll put a move on the outside, plant, go inside. He's got the defensive man in good position. Now, he gets a little bit of alligator arms here. I think he sees it. You see that? Sees John Harris right in front of him. He says, I don't know whether I want to catch it.
Pretty heavy play by Rutland, but he got away with it. Here is the field goal try of 26 yards, and Murray scores the first points of the day. and of the season for the Detroit Lions. A pretty good drive, and now we'll check the offense of the Vikings with Wade Wilson. The drive, 44 yards, 5 minutes, 10 plays, 26-yard field goal by Eddie Murray, who will kick it off here. And the deep man is Greg Richardson, the rookie out of Alabama. He's only a little fella, 5'7", 159. Murray thumps it. And Richardson from the goal line. Shy of the 20-yard line, and Scott Williams down to make the tackle. Here is Wade Wilson coming on. He is a 7-year veteran out of East Texas State, filling in for Tommy Kramer. He certainly should be ready to play. Here's the defense of the Detroit Lions. They play the 3-man front with Eric Williams, Jerry Ball, the rookie at the nose tackle, and William Gay, who's playing in terrific fashion. Williams, Robinson, Gibson, and Kofer are the linebackers. Galloway on the corner instead of Watkins, along with McNorton on the other corner, and Griffin and Sully at the safety spots. So the Vikings didn't get the starting position that Detroit did. I like that rush by the big fullback, Alfred Anderson. Anderson out of Baylor, a 16-yard gain. Did they trap somebody, Joe?
Well, no, they realize they've got that problem on defense, Detroit. They've been very poor against the rush, so Minnesota's going to come out and find out if they can run the football and control the game against them. Obviously, by picking up that many yards, they're off to the start they thought they could get.
The tackle was made by Jimmy Williams, but not until Anderson had picked up enough yards for a first down, a 16-yard gain out to the 34. Leo Lewis and Anthony Carter. A couple of flyers are both out to the right side. Lewis goes in motion. And here's the pass by Wilson. And intercepted off the hands of Carter. Racing back with it is Griffin. And Detroit has the ball again. A well-thrown ball by Wilson. And Anthony Carter had it sail off of his hands right into the arms of the free safety, James Griffin.
Now you see Jerry Burns shaking his head. Wade Wilson does the right thing. The movement causes the secondary of Detroit to kick to the right, which means that this is a relatively simple play. Gets it over the linebacker, hits Carter right on the chest, and Griffin's right there to pick up the fumble. Actually, it's a fumble off his chest, so it's an interception. Good field position for Detroit.
Yes, sir. This is the second time they've had good field position. They're at the 38 with Chadwick to the left. Long's throwing, and the pass is incomplete. Tried to get it out to Jones, and he saw the coverage coming up by Studwell, and he almost threw that, just about threw it away, I would say.
Just about. Also, he had some pressure from Joey Browner coming off the weak side. Detroit, with that first drive and with Long having the time to throw that he did, Minnesota played a lot of zone coverage. Now it looks like they're going to figure, okay, let's put a lot of pressure on this young man and see how he handles blitzes and movement up front.
You saw that Miami score. That was Marino to Duper for the touchdown. 2nd and 10 with James Jones and Scott Williams. Throw. And Jones again. Covered again out there by David Howard, the linebacker. He's going to get that halfback killed.
He can't keep hanging the ball up that way. You see him there look like Darth Vader. There he comes at you. All he needs is a cape, and he's off into Star Wars. They ought to do that for quarterbacks so that the defensive backs couldn't read your eyes downfield. You could look anywhere you want, nobody be able to tell.
Howard comes out, Studwell comes out, Guggemos and Reggie Rutland are in as the extra backs on 3rd and 10. Long out of the shotgun. He has Mark Nichols as the 3rd wide receiver in his lineup. Beautiful throw and a first down. Well, let's see where they mark it. It is right at the first down marker to Pete Manley. Now, they say Long doesn't have an extremely strong arm, but he told us yesterday, I think it's good enough.
Sure he does. I think having a chance to visit with the young man, you know that he's got a lot of confidence. In talking to Russ Thomas, the general manager of the Detroit Lions, he feels like one of his greatest assets is his leadership ability, which he's showing this afternoon.
That was an 11-yard pickup and a first down to the 27 of Minnesota. And Moving the ball doesn't seem to be a problem for the Lions. They're a different kind of club, aren't they?
They are, and they're doing it in the air, which is really different from this last year's opener.
The fans back home in Detroit like it, and now Jones picks his way inside the 25. Jones, who gained 903 yards last year, just ran for 4. Tackled by Millard and Sullivan. What about that Viking defense? They're supposed to be good.
Well, they are, but you're not real big. And that's the advantage I think the Detroit Lions have up front is they match up very well. Their people are bigger. The way Minnesota accommodates to try and confuse offensive teams is they do a lot of stunning. And sometimes they're going to stunt themselves out of position. And you'll see the big runs that we just saw Jones have. Jones
is out. Carl Bernard, the rookie out of Southwest Louisiana, number 25, is in the lineup in the pass pattern, and he catches the ball. And that's another first down as he goes out at the 17, covered by Jesse Solomon. He doesn't miss very often, does he?
No, he doesn't. And you know, the thing that you observe is you feel that this man's confidence is just continuing to build and build and build, which is not good for the Viking defense.
That's another first down. Minnesota had the ball for only a couple of plays. We have 7.5 minutes left in the first quarter coming up. Good picture of Lomas Brown, one of the good offensive linemen in the league, one of the best in the league, playing that left tackle spot. Here's the reverse, and running with the ball, Bernard. Another semi-Statue of Liberty.
That's really what it is the coaches didn't want their quarterback standing back there and just holding the ball and having the back pivot around and take it. So they've added this little movement to make it look like a pass and then hand off, ensure a good handoff, let your lineman pull in front and get that back out in front of them like a big sweep.
Minnesota linemen are not making many tackles.
No, they're not. It's they're being either blocked out of position or stunning out of position, as I mentioned. Floyd Peters, when you talk to him, he says, I start stunning as soon as I get off the bus. And they have not been effective yet so far today.
The ball is at the 12-yard line. Second down and 5. Manley and Chadwick, the wide receivers. Chadwick in motion. Bernard running again. Tried to go outside, and he got 3 that time. Inside the 10 to the 9. 2-yard gain. There's Floyd Peters. He works the defense for Minnesota, and he likes those games.
He does. He loves to have his defensive linemen move and stunt and end around tackle around end, linebacker step up. He says that you have to coach in a frenzy when you're on defense. On offense, you can do it methodically and call plays and take time and think about it. On defense, you've just got to simply react.
You know what Detroit needs here? They need a touchdown. They don't want to be stopped and only get another field goal out of all this.
No, that would be if Minnesota can stop them, it would be a big plus for Minnesota.
We're under 6 minutes in the first quarter. James Jones is back in there, and now a timeout is called. We have 5:55 left in the first quarter. The Lions are at the 10, and they have the lead 3-0. Joe Theismann, I'll bet Darrell Rogers wanted that timeout because of what I said before. They want a touchdown. They don't want a field goal here.
You're absolutely right. And not only that, Chuck Long was thinking the same thing. Obviously, he couldn't quite get the signals correct from the sideline, so he figured we're on the 10-yard line. Let's not blow this opportunity because we're going to need all the points we can get against Minnesota.
Detroit has had the ball 8 minutes and 13 seconds. Minnesota's had the ball 52 seconds.
Tough to put points on the board when you only got the ball 52 seconds.
An interception stopped them. Now Chadwick goes to the right. Pete Manley to the left. Tight end is Rob Rubik. He's on the right side. Steve Mock over the ball. Dorney and Barrows are the guards with Brown and Stringer the tackles. 3rd and 3. And incomplete. That should have been 1st and goal for the Lions. Off the chest of Rob Rubik. I thought I kind of saw a pick down there in the corner by the goal line.
Well, you will. As long as the two defensive guys run into one another and an offensive player doesn't get involved, they won't call it. Right in the right of your screen, you see Rubik on the out. He just does an excellent job of beating the two defenders. There's Joey Browner. The ball gets knocked in the air, and Studwell coming in to make the play. But big play by Minnesota's defense.
Here's another field goal, and it is good by Murray to make it 6-0. And the distance on that, 27 yards. 6-0 Lions. Minnesota's pretty lucky to be only trailing 6-0. Field goals 26-27 yards by this man, Murray, who kicks it off to Greg Richardson, and it goes out of bounds. Here's the new rule, folks. The ball is going to come out to the 35-yard line. Watch this. This is a brand new rule in the league this year, except on an onside kick. The ball comes to the 35. It speeds up the game. That's where the Vikings get the ball. No re-kick after a free kick out of bounds. It's spotted 30 yards. That's from the 135 to the other 35.
That is correct.
So Minnesota goes from their 35-yard line. Minnesota wants some better results.
Well, they still don't have to feel like they're in a pressure situation. They're only down 6 points. If they can get a touchdown, they're right back in it. And, of course, kick the field goal, they'll take the lead.
Dozier carrying for the first time in the pros. Well, he's got a pretty good average, hasn't he? 7 yards.
That's the way to start. If he can keep it is the big question.
Shelton Robinson tackled him. Here was the #1 pick of the Minnesota Vikings. And fortunately for the Vikes, with Darren Nelson out, they have this fella to do some running.
This is a young man who's really going to have to play himself into shape. In talking to the coaches with Minnesota, they feel like he has to learn how to be a practice and professional player, but he has all the tools and all the talent.
Alan Rice replaces him and goes in motion. Anderson, the big fullback, surges for a first down perhaps right at the 45-yard line. They may have to measure this one. Washington gets ahead of the Eagles. Pittsburgh's ahead of San Francisco. Cincinnati leads Indianapolis. And the Rams by 3 over Houston. Tampa Bay leads Atlanta. A lot of games started simultaneously with this one, and St. Louis is ahead of Dallas. This is 3rd down and inches. Dozier is back in there. Dozier gets a first down. Boy, he's got some legs. You can see that. As soon as he made contact, you could see those legs drive. He's a 6-footer, 203. Watch him again.
That's Zimmerman, Huff, and Loudermilk, the center on the left side of your screen. Watch him just blow out the Lions' left side. David Huffman kicking out, making the hole for him. Rick Feeney leading the way. And you see the leg drive that guy has. He's not going to get stopped by one tackler.
You said Minnesota wasn't very big on defense up front, but on offense,
that's where they make the difference on.
Here's the first down at their own 48. Wilson swings it out. Dozier dropped it. Dozier caught 11 balls during the preseason, and they thought he was pretty good in catching it, but that ball wasn't precisely thrown.
No, actually, Wade Wilson has had bad luck so far in his football game. The first one, Anthony Carter bounces off his chest for an interception. This one is actually in Dozier's hands, and he drops it. He's just got to get in the huddle now and say, okay, guys, look, just make one for me. Let's get this thing started in a positive way. They've got good field position, and that little swing play to them is just like a running play. They'll get 4 or 5 yards and be happy with it.
Alan Rice is back in the lineup, number 36, the running back out of Baylor. Wide receivers are Carter and Lewis. They're both to the right side. And Wilson looks outside to Rice. First down. 21-yard pickup. Dwayne Galloway made the tackle. And remember, Detroit is playing without their starting cornerback.
Starting without Bobby Watkins. To the right of your screen, you're going to see Rice swing out. Wade looks downfield and just zips the ball out. And that's what happens when you're in man-to-man coverage. The 2 wide receivers run off the deep backs. He beats a linebacker and picks up that extra yardage.
3:05 left in the first quarter. 2 tight ends, Hilton and Steve Jordan. Anderson, the lone setback. And delay of game. What was happening there that caused Wilson not to call the snap?
He was going to call an audible because Detroit lined up. Usually Detroit is a very, very soft zone team on first down. They lined up with 8 men near the line of scrimmage in what looked like a blitz situation. Wade Wilson had to start to audibilize and didn't have enough time to get the play off.
Makes it 1st and 15 at the 35. So the other tight end, Hilton, comes out. Rice goes back in. Vikings usually play it rather soft. Here's the pass over the middle. Unbelievable that was caught by Jordan. What a catch. What a catch, first down.
You see the backs fake into the line. Now he's going to take the tight. He wants to go outside to the wide receiver, but he makes an excellent throw. Gets it into Steve Jordan, who was in the Pro Bowl last year, and that's an example of why.
This is why I said earlier, when Detroit had to settle for only those 2 field goals, they might find themselves trailing here in a blink.
It's a very explosive offense Minnesota has.
Anderson and Dozier in the backfield. Jordan Lights lines up on the right side. Anderson has stopped cold. What a good tackle that was up front. Eric Williams made that tackle. Now a touchdown, and the Redskins lead one of their arch rivals, Philadelphia. The Redskins have a lot of arch rivals.
They've gotten a lot lately. The Giants are one, Cowboys are one, but they're a football team that has an awful lot of offensive power, and they're proving it today.
Good tackle by Eric Williams, keeps it 2nd and 10. Will Lewis in motion. Wilson picked up a few, only a couple. It's 3rd and long. Wilson is good size at 6'3", 213.
Yeah, but when you're the only quarterback on the roster, you know, they don't want to play Tommy Kramer. He really can't throw the ball. And talking to Tom earlier in warm-ups, he just said, I throw the ball and I really don't know where it's going to go. He hurt that right shoulder. He's got a little nerve damage in it, and it's going to be a question of time when he's going to come back. So Wade Wilson has to think, you know, what happens if I do get hurt?
Less than a minute remaining in the first quarter. William Graham and Ricky Smith check into the defensive backfield of the Lions. And Anderson carries to the 10. How'd you like that call, Joe?
Well, you know, it's a percentage call. Traditionally, in scouting and studying the Detroit Lions, they play a lot of man-to-man on 3rd down. If your back can break through, you get the block on the linebacker cover, and bang, he's in the end zone. If not, somebody makes a great individual play, you wind up having to settle for a field goal attempt.
Vikings might just let the clock run out here rather than kick the field goal. Wayne Jones will center the ball, and Greg Coleman will hold the ball as Chuck Nelson will kick it. And that's the end of the first quarter. So that'll be the first action at the start of the second quarter. Field goals by Murray, 26 and 27 yards. 6-0 Detroit. Wayne Jones, number 69, will snap the ball. Now, they brought him back just because he was so prolific at this. The ball will be held by Coleman at the 17. It's a 27-yard try by Nelson. He was 3rd in the NFC and 4th in the NFL in scoring. 110 points last year, and he puts the Vikings on the board. So it's 6-3 here at the outset of the second quarter. Next Saturday on CBS Sports, 2 very highly regarded coaches get together. Vince Dooley takes the Bulldogs of Georgia to Death Valley against Danny Ford's Clemson Tigers. They're both undefeated. Yeah, and also Clemson has got the brother of William the Refrigerator Perry, Michael Dean Perry. He's only at 275. That's at 2:30 Eastern, live on CBS Sports Saturday. Nelson kicks it off, and this ball is picked up by Gary Lee. He touched it. It's a touchback. It is not a safety. It's a touchback. It'll come out to the 20-yard line. That's a very smart thing he did. So many times you see a player want to try and pick the ball up and run with it. When the ball got into the end zone, he just fell on it and covered it. This is like a wobbly. It is a wobbly. And he's only a rookie, too. He did the right thing. Great presence of mind. Some young players on the Lions making some real good decisions. There you see it hit his hands. He slips a little bit. Now, instead of trying to scoop it up, he just makes sure he's got it covered, brings his knees up to protect himself when he's going to get hit, and he know he will. And they wind up with the ball in the 20. She's right, Coach. That's exactly what I did. Chuck Long really aired it out in the first quarter. He was throwing. And from the 20-yard line here, Long was 4 out of 9. Here he goes again. And he ducked right underneath that guy. And then he overthrew his intended receiver, Jeff Chadwick. Who was that? Jesse Solomon? That's Jesse Solomon coming flying in from nowhere.
right from the right side of your screen. You see him come the outside dome, and there's that trick we talk about. Jesse, talking to him earlier, he says the reason why Detroit beat us last year because I didn't start in the opener, and that's the kind of impact player he is.
Well, they tell him don't hurt the quarterbacks, but that's overdoing it.
Well, I think it's a little game of leapfrog going on out there.
2nd and 10. Boy, Solomon had him dead to rights. Jones is good for 7 or 8. Tackled by Studwell. And Studwell's still perking, isn't he? There's Jones, who gained 903 yards last year.
Yeah, talking to Studwell, he says, I'm still fooling him. Yeah. He's still playing, still doing a great job.
There's Darrell Rogers. He's pretty calm about it all. He said we had a great preseason.
Oh, he was excited. He's excited about his football team, and they're doing something to Minnesota that Minnesota did not expect, and that's come out throwing the football instead of trying to run it down their throat.
Scott Williams is in the backfield with Jones, 3rd and 2. Dropped at the last moment by Manley, and Manley is the flyer. He was very close to flying away from Carl Lee on the corner, and it's 4th down.
And this is Carl Lee's first game back. Actually, he got hurt the first day of training camp this year, broke his wrist. So this is his first real contact and activity through the entire 6-week period. It's a good one to work on. I am really impressed with Chuck Long. That time he looked left, wound up throwing back, and did a great job.
Here's an interesting guy, Erxleben.
Yeah, he was out 3 years. I asked him before the game, how do you feel? He says, I'm still scared. He says, that must be good.
He was kicking the ball easily in the practice, but that one's not so hot unless he gets a good bounce. Richardson can't handle it, so Erxleben's going to lead the league with that one, down to the 20-yard line.
You don't have to kick him pretty. All you have to do is get him back. It looks like he got nicked a little.
52 yards, and he hurt himself. Que pasa?
There's Erxleben coming back after a 3-year layoff. You'll see when he hits the ball, he obviously either pulls something or hurts something. He goes to the ground right there like he did something to his right leg.
Now the Vikings start from their 20, and the pass is batted down. He tried to get it to Steve Jordan underneath. Here's what's transpired thus far here at the Metrodome. It was 2 field goals by Eddie Murray, 26 and 27 yards in the first quarter, after a Griffin interception set up one of them. And then the field goal by Chuck Nelson, 27 yards at the start of this second quarter. And there's our score, and it's 2nd and 10.
Looks like he might have pulled a groin. He's over there on the sidelines trying to figure it out. That happens so often when you're out of the game for so long.
Oh, right through the hands, and another interception. It is Dwayne Galloway playing there. It looked like it was Lewis. Had the ball zipped right through his hands.
No, I think that was Anthony Carter
again. Or was it Carter again?
Yeah, that's the second time the ball's been in Anthony Carter's hands, and the second time.
And a flag is down. Let's see what transpires here.
That Detroit's wound up with an interception.
Personal foul tacked on against Minnesota. Here's the play.
That's a personal foul on a running back on Minnesota at 15 yards. First down.
There you see Wade Wilson make a fine throw. Anthony Carter's right in the hole. Now, Anthony Carter did not play last year because of injury, and he's had his hands on the ball twice and not been able to hold on to it. Both of them have wound up in tipped interceptions. Detroit becoming a very opportunistic football team.
So Galloway, filling in for Watkins, walks into one, and there's Carter. He's had 2 of them go off his hands, and then the personal foul puts the ball at the Minnesota 12. I didn't see the personal foul, did you?
No, it was on the return.
Scott Williams, James Jones, Rubik the tight end. Manley to the left, or to the right, and in the end zone, Manley, and the other man came across, Chadwick, and caught it for 6. Are now incomplete is the call. And Lee got in there and busted it up.
What's going to happen here is this is not the intended receiver. You see Chadwick from the top of your screen. Chuck Long is actually looking down at the bottom of the screen at Manley. Now the ball gets hung in the air a little bit. Chadwick, being an alert football, you see he's actually throwing the ball to Manley. But But Chadwick, being an alert football player, thought he had a shot at it.
Lee went over the top and avoided interference and knocked it down. Now Scott Williams is in the backfield with Jones. Long's having trouble with the snap count and the noise. The blitz is on. They hand it off to Jones, and they beat the blitz for about 3 yards. With Studwell making the tackle, 4 yards.
You just know Floyd Peterson's not going to sit. Floyd Peters, excuse me, is not going to sit back and let his football team have the ball move down on him. He wants to set the tempo of this game, and right now he realizes his defense has got to make a big play.
Here again, the Lions want the touchdown. They've had to settle for 2 field goals. Guggemos comes in and Reggie Rutland comes in. Extra defensive backs for the Vikings on 3rd down and 6. Nichols, the other wide receiver, and timeout by Detroit. They want to make sure they don't miss fire on this 3rd down play. 12:56 left in the half. They have a 6-3 score in favor of the Lions. Lions are back to work at the Minnesota 8-yard line with a 3rd and 6. And Long looks at the referee and says, I can't hear anything.
Well, this is where the inexperience of a quarterback in a loud dome stadium, particularly loud stadium, but particularly in a dome stadium where the sounds reverberate off of everything, you have to move up under the center. He's not going to be able. I don't think these fans are going to let him sit back there and stay in a shotgun and allow his football team to operate in that position. So if he can move up under, it's going to be an advantage to Minnesota. They take away something Detroit wants to do.
And the referee, Ben Dreith, gave him timeout there. The Lions have 1 remaining. Minnesota has 3. We saw Anthony Carter earlier along the sideline.
He was standing on the sidelines having Rich Gannon, the 3rd-string quarterback for Minnesota, throw the ball to him to try and get a feel for it.
Well, the crowd's into it here. Nichols, the wide receiver, the extra wide receiver.
Now, this is not like college football. You're going to have to get under there. If Ben Dreith does it like he used to do to me, he's going to make him get under center and make him play football.
3rd down, he is under center, as you see. And the pass is good for only a yard. It was well covered by the back Carl Lee.
Well, you got to put a plus up for Minnesota's defense again. They've shut them down 3 times inside the 20 and only allowed them 2 field goals and now a field goal attempt.
That Lee has made 2 fine plays. One knocking down a pass in the end zone, and this tackle. And so it's another field goal try of 24 yards for Eddie Murray.
There you see his right wrist is wrapped in that cast because he's just come back.
Murray is 3 for 3. That was a 25-yard effort. And Detroit leads 9-3, but they've been denied the touchdowns, and that hurts. 12:21 remaining in the half.
Got a lion down on the field. See that little huddled.
One of the Lions is down. There's that Lomas Brown, the starting tackle. That's who it is. And that's a big loss. Eric Sanders will have to play.
They can ill afford to have an injury at that position.
Yeah, he's one of the best in the game. They credit Murray with a 24-yard field goal.
You see on the right side of the picture right there, as he jumps in, he lands. You see him go down with his knee bent back. Right there in the lower part, right in between the goalposts. He's on the ground.
It looks very passive when they're kicking those field goals, but it is anything but.
That's the worst place to be. I always felt that was the worst place and the biggest opportunity for injuries to occur are right there in the field goal and extra point areas.
Well, the year was 1970. And the Lions defense held arch rival Green Bay to 5 first downs. Only 1 of them rushing. And on defense, Lem Barney intercepted Bart Starr and took it in for a score. Nothing over Green Bay. That was back in 1970. And here they are still tending to Lomas Brown, the 3-year veteran.
Well, you know, as a player, you just hate to see him bring the apparatus out on the field to know that, you know, you can't get off on your own power.
What a way to to start the season for Lomas. Here's some scores of other games for you, and there's a different quarterback operating with the Redskins.
That's right. Doug Williams is taking over for Jay Schrader. Jay Schrader has some type of a shoulder injury. We're not sure the extent of it, but it makes Joe Gibbs look like a real genius not having traded Doug Williams away or submitted to his wishes of wanting to be traded.
Pittsburgh recovered a fumble and ran it back for a touchdown, and they lead the 49ers 7-0 second quarter. And New Orleans hangs on to a 7-0 lead over Cleveland in the second quarter. Cincinnati over Indianapolis 13-7. They have their hands full. And the Rams in a low-scoring game at Houston in the second period. Tampa Bay stretching it out over Atlanta. Jets and Buffalo scoreless in the second quarter. Some people look for an upset there. Miami leads 14-7 at New England, where they usually have a lot of problems. And Kansas City leading San Diego. St. Louis takes it into the second quarter with a 3-0 lead at home over Dallas. Well, here's Eddie Murray. He's been a busy man. He has kicked field goals of 24, 26, and 27 yards. He kicks off to Greg Richardson. And
Detroit has wasted 2 timeouts to try and get touchdowns on the board, and they have neither time been able to put it in the end zone. So that may come back and haunt them at the end of the half here.
From the 6, Richardson. Ooh, he almost got outside. He came out to the 23. After our football game here from the Metrodome, weather permitting, we're going to have action from the U.S. Open Tennis Tournament with Ivan Lendl against Mats Wilander in the finals, and everybody says Lendl's too hot to stop.
I agree. I think he's the man machine right now. He's just going through the tennis championships like he owns them, and he does at this point.
Vikings have twice been stopped by interceptions. They have Dozier and Anderson in the backfield. And the fullback Anderson in motion. Dozier is stuffed after a yard or two. We have 12 minutes left in the half. Buffalo ahead of the Jets in the second quarter, 7-0. They just scored that touchdown a moment ago.
You know, it's not that Minnesota has not had the opportunity to move the football. They've actually had open receivers, but both of the interceptions have come off of really where Carter has been wide open and had the ball bounce away. So I wouldn't see them get conservative. They're still going to put the ball in the air.
Allen Rice in the backfield on 2nd and 9. As he was hit, he threw it, and there's a touchdown. Another that first touchdown for Detroit. Another interception by Galloway, his second. He is filling in for Bobby Watkins. And how do you like that for fill-in work? And that runs it up, doesn't it?
Well, anything that can go wrong has gone wrong for Wade Wilson. Here he gets hit. He gets pressure from Williams. On the right side of your screen, you're going to see Williams make the hit. Now, the interception goes to the defensive back, but right there, once he gets hit, you know, the guy that gets really the credit for the touchdown is that defensive lineman. This is a gimme.
He tried to get it to Rice, and Galloway went down the sideline. He stepped out of bounds, right, however, at the 4-yard line.
You saw his left foot go out.
So it's 1st and goal at the 4. And that is Scott Williams running with the ball. 3 interceptions today. Carl Lee made that tackle. He's been very much in business. Galloway returned that 30 yards after picking it off. I didn't see him go out of bounds, and he was trying to stay away from the tacklers and stepped out.
His left foot just did catch the line.
2nd and goal. On the 3. Pass play wide open and a touchdown. And that was a tackle eligible play, evidently, to Glover.
Kevin Glover's a backup center. Now, so often you see the substitutions in short yardage and goal line situations.
There goes a flag. I wonder if it's a legal play. As Glover,
he might not have reported.
He might not have reported.
That's, I think, what Ben Dreif is saying to him now. He might not have. That's what you see the Minnesota Vikings slapping. He has got to report to Ben Dreif and let him know.
Got to be the referee.
53 caught the ball. He did not report. Illegal substitution. 5-yard penalty.
dodged the bullet. And Darryl Rogers said, what went wrong?
Now, he should know better. That young man's been, let me see, he's been in the league 3 years. He's out of Maryland. And when you go in and you get an opportunity like that, boy, the first guy you got to find is the referee and say, I'm in the game, because I'm going to catch a touchdown. I'm in the game. Darryl says, look, you have to report. This is, say he goes, number 1, you have to report. Number 2, then you catch the ball.
Glover is crestfallen. He lined up on the left side.
Right in the middle of your screen, right on the inside of number 84, Rudick. That's where he was, but he didn't tell anybody he was there.
Now the ball is back to the 8. And it's second down. Now it's to the 5. It was caught by Williams, and Joey Browner knocked him cuckoo.
Joey Browner, the strong safety, he's called upon to play closer to the line of scrimmage this year. You see Scott Williams make the catch out of the backfield. Now watch Browner close right there with a good, solid tackle. You know, Detroit's going to have to put the ball in the end zone and stop giving away these opportunities, because you can only hold the Vikings down so long. Very potent offensive attack.
Henry Thomas put some pressure on Chuck Long. It's 3rd and goal from the 5. Steps in and tries to keep it quiet.
Yeah, for now he will.
I don't like that college rule where they penalize the team for the home crowd noise.
Now they won't, you know, and that's the trouble with the young guy who's played college football. A lot of times, you know, you'll see, the only reason why you see the Minnesota Vikings on the other side, you see them waving their hands, they have to communicate with one another as well, and it's just as difficult for the defensive team as it is for the offense.
And a touchdown. Pete Manley went up and got it. As the Viking defenders didn't go deep enough, and Long was very patient, and he found his man.
Chuck Long's wife said he's the luckiest. Look at all the coaches laughing. They should. They have no idea. Everybody's smiling over there. His wife, Lisa, says he's the luckiest man in the world, and right now he gets a chance to prove it. Now, he's either throwing this ball away, or that's an interception.
I thought he was throwing it away when he first let it go.
Look at that. Manley winds up with it. Sometimes, hey, being lucky is a lot better than being good.
Went over the head of Gugamo's number 41. And that makes it 15-3. The Vikings were favored here. Here's Eddie Murray kicking one through, 16-3. What's going on here with 9:59 left in the half?
There we go. Hello. Merry Christmas.
I thought he was throwing it away. Did
Merry
you?
Christmas.
Did you? Here is Gugamo's, still on his feet with the ball after fumbling it for a moment. Moves off across the 25-yard line, and the Vikings will go from their 26 as they trail 16-3. We're at the Metrodome in a sellout crowd of 63,000. We have 9:48 left in the half. Detroit's on top, 16-3. They have 3 interceptions in the game. Jack Buck and Joe Theismann with you. And that last scoring drive covered only 4 yards. And Manley caught his first NFL touchdown pass ever in regular season. Here comes Dozier with a nice run. 9 yards.
What the Vikings have to do here is put together some type of a drive with some consistency. They've been in and out so quick. Their defense has been on the field trying to stave off the onslaught by the Lions, so they need to establish something. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if Wade Wilson continues to struggle that they don't put in Rich Gannon, the quarterback out of Delaware. He's not real polished, got an awful lot to learn, but he's exciting and can make things happen. So this is a very important series for Wilson as well.
He's had 2 deflections for interceptions, and he threw one right into the arms of Galloway the last time. Here's a toss to the tailback, Allen Rice, trying to get the first down. There's a very popular kid here in Minneapolis. He played at Delaware, Rich Gannon. They say he has got a rifle.
Oh, he's got a little rifle. He's got a good arm, but his legs are what really makes him. He runs 4.5 on grass. Now, the difference between grass and AstroTurf is on grass it slows you up a little bit. On AstroTurf, if somebody was to say you're 4.5, that means you're really, really fast. But on grass, it's something else.
For you Detroit fans, it might be good news about Lomas Brown. He has a strained right knee. He is still on the sideline, as opposed to being in the dressing room, so he might not be as injured seriously as you thought. And then he just went to the dressing room, so let's hope for the best. It is 3rd down here in inches. 2 tight ends, Jordan and Hilton. Wilson's a big quarterback, and he sneaks it and gets the 1st down.
I used to have the coach call that, and I'd wave him off.
Well, Detroit has not made the most of everything. They've got 2 field goals and a touchdown. At least they scored off the 3 interceptions thrown by Wade Wilson, only one of which really was his fault. The other 2 should have been caught by Anthony Carter. It's a 1st down to the 37-yard line.
It's important that Wilson gets into some type of continuity here. Just got to put the ball up, get into a rhythm, make a throw. There you go.
Leo Lewis. "37 yards over Bruce McNorton."
There you see action to the left of your screen with a little play fake. Now Lewis is going to come from the right side over to the left. Wade Wilson does a nice job of putting the ball in the air over the defensive back. Good reception, good route, and good pass. He wound up with a good bunch of yardage.
To the 26 of the Lions. Dozier and Anderson in the backfield. Motion by the tight end. Here comes Anderson. Just did get back to the line of scrimmage. He was carrying that ball in a peculiar fashion as Kofor and Jerry Ball tackled it. That Ball's an interesting guy, number 93. He's a rookie out of SMU. He's playing the nose tackle position. And Jerry Ball is 6 feet 1 inch tall, and he weighs 296.
Yeah, right. I'll bet you he isn't 6'1", but I'll bet he's a little more than 290 and change.
2nd down and 10. Anthony Carter to the left. 2 wide receivers to the right, including Hassan Jones. I knew someone was going to get walloped on that one. And it was Ivory Sully who was nailed by his own man.
That's just a it's a tough throw to make. You've got to get the ball up and down as a quarterback. Both of the safeties don't get out of the middle of the football field. You see Wade Wilson put the ball up. Now the back is going down the middle, but from the left and right of your screen, watch the 2 defensive guys close on it. You got to get the ball down quicker than that, or else nothing but bad things are going to happen. That's the best thing that could have happened to the Vikings on that play.
Sully got swacked on that one. Wilson is 3 out of 9. That's all. 3 intercepted. 78 yards is all he's thrown for. We have 6.5 left in the half. Sully looks like he might be able to come back in. He's replaced by William Graham. 3rd and 10. So after the long pass to Lewis, the Vikings are sputtering. Lewis again. 1st down. Covered by Jimmy Williams, but a well-thrown ball by Wilson.
Well, Wade Wilson does, as we mentioned, he's in a little bit of a rhythm now. He sets in the pocket, they give him good protection, and he makes the throw. But the most important thing is that people are catching the football for him now. He's in the shotgun, which allows him to read the defense. Detroit goes into their zone, and he finds Lewis right in the seam and just fires it into him.
12-yard pickup to the 13. 5:55 left in the half. 16-3 Detroit. It's raining flags. Looked like Jimmy Williams came across, but was he drawn offside?
Everybody points. The one thing about the defensive man, he can come across the line and get back, but once the offensive player makes a commitment. Once the offensive man makes a commitment, the flags start to go in the air. And that's
that was
what happened
Steve
to
Jordan that time. Steve Jordan, the tight end, missed the snap count. Step back to set up.
As Anthony Carter has had a little, I guess you could say he's had a tough afternoon so far. The thing that could get him into the game is a touchdown pass or a big play right here to help his football team. Spent some time on the sidelines catching some passes, and now he needs something to help his team.
Allen Rice, nothing doing on 1st and 15. Tackled by Jimmy Williams, number 59.
Jimmy Williams on defense and Chuck Long on offense were two of the Detroit Lions last year who did not have a chance to be through a training camp. So they really weren't able to come on and produce the way the coaches like, but they did have that chance this year.
2nd down and 15. Dozier's back in there. Leo Lewis in motion. He threaded the needle, and it's very close to a 1st down. Jordan made another great catch. Ball is at the 4.
From the left of your screen, you're going to see Leo Lewis just clear out inside and allow Steve Jordan to make the move right there. There goes Lewis. Right behind him comes Jordan. Excellent catch. Nice throw by Wade Wilson. He seems to be getting a rhythm now.
They bring in, after that 14-yard pass, making it 3rd and 1, they bring in Dennis Swilley and others up front. 3rd down in the yard. Dozier. Very close. Looks like it might be 1st and goal. Jerry Ball, number 93, about whom we were talking a while ago, tackled him. Dozier had a good burst into the line, didn't he?
He did. And, you know, he's that kind of a slashing runner. We're down around the goal line with his feet moving. He's going to break tackles. One of the things you get is obviously Dozier's playing because Darren Nelson is hurt. Now, this is where Nelson's quickness and niftiness is really missed by the Vikings.
Ball is just inside the 3, 1st and goal. So a couple of long passes to Lewis set up this drive and kept it going, and Jordan made a big play. And Wilson turns back and bounces it off of his tight end Hilton, and a flag goes down.
That's going to be roughing the quarterback. They really have gone out this year to protect the quarterbacks in the National Football League. And here was a case of Wade Wilson taking a hit. So the Vikes are going to have 1st and goal from a little bit closer.
I got a personal foul on number 55. Hit that quarterback high, 15 yards or half the distance. That's a 1st down.
Michael Kofor. Well, you got to lay off the quarterbacks.
You got to stay away from him. Especially, you have to give him that step. Now he stays away, and there you see the hit coming up high.
A high hit is what drew the flag. So it's 1st and goal from a yard and a half away.
Michael Kofor, the designated rush man for the Lions.
That was a good spot to take that penalty.
Sure.
Rice is stopped. This Minnesota can usually get the ball across the goal line.
They get inside the 20-yard line, which a lot of teams refer to as the red area. They've scored almost 89% of the time when they've gotten down this close to the goal line, whether it be a touchdown or a field goal. Right now, I'm sure they would rather have the touchdown than the field goal.
Williams, Griffin, and Graham made that last defensive play. 2 tight ends are in there. It's 2nd and goal. Touchdown to Dozier. His 1st in the pros. Two-yard pass from Wilson.
This is what happens when you run the ball. You get the defense fired up. Now everybody's going to try and tackle the fullback. They're all going to try and get Anderson, and Dozier just winds up way in the corner without a soul near him. That's like a little layup in basketball. Hand it out.
But don't miss it. I've seen some of those drop.
Oh, they're the toughest catches to make. You talk to any running back or wide receiver, they're the toughest catches to make. You lose your concentration sometimes, but Dozier didn't.
Nelson tries the extra point. Greg Coleman is holding. Wayne Jones snapping the ball. And we have a 16-10 game with 2:59 left in the half.
It's an important drive for Minnesota. They managed, they've overcome 3 big interceptions and offensive miscues. They just have not been able to move the ball down the field. That's a good drive. You answer a touchdown. Now it's almost like the game's back to even. You're within 1 touchdown of taking a lead, and Dozier, a very big, important part of it.
Big drive, 12 plays, 74 yards, 7 minutes, 2-yard pass to Dozier. Next week we have an NFL doubleheader. Tampa Bay against Chicago. Tampa Bay is winning their game today. We'll check on them a little later. It all starts with the NFL today at 12:30. And Tampa Bay, Chicago is the big one. And the other games, you'll see either Dallas against the Giants, the Vikings on the coast at the Rams, or Detroit. Oh, what a tough schedule they have to start. They're at the Raiders.
Yeah, they're going to find out real early what kind of football team they have, and Chuck Long's going to get himself an education.
Then they go home, and who do they play?
They open with Chicago. So, I mean, if you're a young man, you want to find out how good you are, this is the way to do it. Minnesota, Raiders, and Chicago. Tell you in a hurry.
Nelson kicking off to Lee and Carl Bernard. Lee closest to you. This is a good game for the opener. 3 minutes left in the half. This is a booming kick. It's going to come out to the 20. Nelson really put a foot into that one. I hate guys like him. He can shoot par golf and kick a football and ski and do all that stuff.
Nelson's a 3 handicap. Murray's a 5 handicap. If this game goes into overtime, we're just going to let the 2 kickers go out to the closest golf course and decide it in the last 3-hole playoff.
Well, let's see how Chuck Long gets the Lions going from the 20-yard line. Rams have increased their lead over Houston. Cleveland caught New Orleans. Scott Williams in the backfield with James Jones. Gary James not playing today. And Jones always seems to get something. He got 4. Ran into Jesse Solomon and Scott Studwell. 2:35 left in the half. 16-10 in favor of the Lions.
This is a part of the football field where the most important thing to do is not make some type of a mistake to give Minnesota back that little edge that they seem to have gotten.
Chadwick is to the right. He's in a deep pattern. They throw underneath, and Rubik, the tight end, caught it for first down yardage. Joey Browner covering him. And a flag is down. No flag, and it is a first down.
The reason why, with 2 minutes and 8 seconds to go in the half, Minnesota calls a timeout is when the 2-minute warning comes back up, it will act as a timeout for them, and they can save one in essence going into the 2-minute drill. So this is a good time to call it if you're a defensive team and you've got the other team backed up in their own end.
Yeah, you see a lot of benches go asleep and fall asleep and don't take advantage of situations like that.
I don't think you'll see Jerry Burns or Floyd Peters fall asleep. Not in this one. They've had enough nightmares going on out there to keep them awake.
So Detroit has 1 timeout left, and the Vikings have 2. Chuck Long over there. Who's he chatting with?
See him conferring with Joe Ferguson on your right, Eric Hipple with the headsets on the left. There you see his thumb in a cast. I talked to him earlier. They put a screw in it. He hopes to get the cast off tomorrow, but he still doesn't have any grip on the football.
Long was very complimentary about those 2 gentlemen, about how much they've helped him, even though he's taking their job.
They realize it, that he's a great competitor. They also realize they're not on the field. Joe Ferguson's one of the nicest, most unselfish football players you'd ever run into. All he wants to do is be on a team that can win and help win. Eric Hipple, on the other hand, has helped Chuck Long along with learning the system and understanding the reads.
Ball at the 33 with Jones and Williams in the backfield. Rubik on the right side and Manley in motion. Jones comes across the 40 for big yards.
This is where I always like to see a young quarterback. How soon do you get your people into the huddle? How soon do you get them out?
Jones got 8 yards, and we come to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left in the half. The Lions have been ahead throughout, and they lead 16-10. They did lead 16-3. They have the ball at their own 41, second down and 2. Williams in the backfield with Jones and Manley in motion. And the ball comes to first down territory.
This is the point I was trying to make before we went away, is that how quickly can Chuck Long get his team together, realizing with the sense of patience that you've got to get them in and out. You don't have but one timeout left, so you want to get them in, get the play called, get them up, and keep everybody moving. You don't want to waste a lot of time in the huddle.
Joe Theismann, you used to make very good use of that final minute and a half.
That was the most enjoyable time in a football game, other than the end when you won it. But having the 2-minute drill at the end of the game and the end of the half is the most fun for a quarterback, I think.
Here is a first down pass. Good protection. Boy, he waits, doesn't he? And that's Manley out of bounds. He waits, and he waited for Manley to cut loose.
Give a lot of credit to that offensive line. They give him a lot of time to survey the field. Minnesota, again, choosing just to rush 3 or 4 and drop back 7 people into coverage. They've got to put pressure on Long. He's a young guy. Go after him. Particularly here. You know, that 2 things were accomplished there. You gained a lot of yards, plus your man went out of bounds.
Ball at the Minnesota 37. Now they're after him, and again, good blocking and incomplete. And he went after Manley again.
That time he just overthrew the pass, but still has plenty of time to throw the football.
Manley couldn't get away from Henderson. Long is 9 out of 18. 75 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. That's what he told us yesterday. Don't lose the game.
That's exactly right. Darryl Rogers there, you see to his right is Joe Ferguson signaling the plays in, but he's got to be very pleased with what he's seen out of his young quarterback so far in this game.
He's 6'4", 211. Chuck Long, I formation. What is this going to signify?
I think they're still going to run the football, or pass the football, excuse me.
Manley in motion. The reverse. I thought perhaps something would come off of that eye.
So did Minnesota.
There's trouble. That was Chadwick coming off of the wing, and Joey Browner leveled him. And a 5-yard loss. I thought something might happen off of that eye.
Yeah, you know, they haven't been in it. Anytime a team goes to a formation that you don't see a lot, you can expect something like a long pass or maybe a reverse. Now, you'll see Chuck Long, well, not really blocking anybody. I mean, you know, he really lived up to a quarterback's reputation on that one. Just sort of getting somebody's way and don't get hurt.
And Chadwick took some pops. Ball at the 43, 3rd and 15. That's caught, but they were playing soft coverage. It's not first down yardage. Jones caught it, but it's 4th down, and the Lions will have to punt the ball.
Now, if Minnesota calls a timeout, you'll know that they want to try and mount a drive. If they let the clock continue the run, they're going to be satisfied to allow them to punt the ball away or try a very long field goal and go in at halftime just 6 down.
Well, both sides are content to let the clock wind down. By the way, with regard to Chadwick, it's nice to see him back after that serious Achilles tendon injury.
Yeah, he said it bothered him all year last year, and finally in the 15th game it did tear. But he kept it in a cast for 9 weeks, and it hasn't bothered him at all.
Now we're happy to see him back. He can run some routes, and he is tough to cover. There's a timeout called with 12 seconds left in the half. Well, apparently Eddie Murray is going to try a field goal with 12 seconds left. Now, this is not impossible for him.
And I don't know whether I'd agree with this.
Well, he's kicked 2 of more than 50 yards.
Yeah, but still, you've got a 6-point lead. Your team has played well. The last thing you need is a blocked field goal.
His career high is 54 yards, and this will tie it, and maybe it'll be a 55-yarder by the time it's set down. Ertzleben is holding. And Murray is short. And now we have 7 seconds left. Minnesota said, have at it, kid. If you can kick it, go ahead. Ertzleben, by the way, has a pulled groin muscle, but he may be back to punt. If not, Murray will have to punt. At the half, We're going to be joining NFL Today with Brent Musburger and Dick Vermeil. They'll have scores and highlights and a U.S. Open update with Tim Ryan and Jim Dance. So plenty of football and tennis coverage at the half. Let's see if Minnesota just sits on it here. They're trailing 16-10. They figure with 3 interceptions against them in the first half, they're pretty fortunate to only be trailing by 6 at this point.
Yeah, they really are. I think it's they scored the last touchdown before the halftime. They've got momentum back on their side, so they can feel pretty comfortable about going in at halftime.
The Lions have been ahead throughout, led at one time 16-3. That's the end of the first half with the score Lions 16, Vikings 10.
Of Champions next weekend on CBS Sports.
Welcome back to New York. Later this afternoon, we hope to have the men's finals at the U.S. Open for you, but it has been raining all morning at the National Tennis Center in Flushing. For a report now, let's go to Jim Nance. Jim?
Well, Brent, this is good John Madden tennis weather, if you will. The forecast is not good, but for that matter, it wasn't good yesterday, but all 3 matches managed to get a conclusion. As you can see, it is raining right now at the stadium court. It's calling for rain for the rest of the day. For the men's final, well, it's threatening conditions. 4 o'clock Eastern Time, Yvonne Lindell, the #1 seed, is scheduled to take on the 3rd seed, Mats Wilander. Again, that is scheduled for 4 o'clock today. Should it not take place today, postponement because of the rain, it will take place tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We'll bring it to you live here on CBS. I'm joined now by Barry McKay. And Barry, once they do get to the men's final, what do you expect will happen?
I think Lindell's going to be very tough to beat, Jim. He's played well here. He's won this tournament the last 2 years, and he's just overpowered all of his opponents so far. He has not lost a set coming into this final round match. Yesterday, Connors played very well. Hit good approach shots. Now watch this forehand by Lindell. Clean winner up the line. Yvonne Lindell playing as well as he ever has. This guy beat McEnroe in straight sets. Again, he just is too powerful on shots from the baseline. And so I think Yvonne Lindell, unless something goes really wrong today with those ground strokes, is going to be very difficult to beat. He's playing a guy who is no pushover. Mats Wilander has won 4 Grand Slam titles, 2 French championships, and 2 Australian championships. And everybody thinks Wilander is a baseliner. But watch him here. He knows how to volley. He's going to have to do 2 things well today, Jim. He's going to have to return serve well. He's an excellent returner server. And if he returns as well as we've seen him, he could give Lindell some real trouble.
All right. Yvonne and Mats both now have homes up in Greenwich, Connecticut. And, of course, everyone knows Lindell has that court in his backyard. If it's dry up there, you don't think they'll go settle matters in the backyard, do you?
Why not?
Okay. Brent will be here 4 o'clock, rain or shine today.
All right, Jim, we'll check in with you. I'm joined now by Coach Dick Vermeil. Dick, we want to get everybody to the scoreboard and up to date with what is going on right now. It has been a tough afternoon as far as injuries are concerned. Eagles and the Redskins are tied at 10 in the second quarter. The Skins have marched down to the 2-yard line right now. But they've lost a quarterback, Dick Vermeil.
Jay Schrader goes down here. He's pressured by Reggie White, who's the most devastating defensive football player playing right now, and they're out. Doug Williams is playing quarterback.
Stepped in and threw a touchdown pass to Art Monk in this sequence, but then Randall Cunningham came back and he got to Mike Quick, Dick.
If you're going to go to somebody deep, get the ball to Mike Quick. Here he goes, big play, touchdowns, caught more touchdown passes in the last 4 years than any receiver in the NFL.
And the Eagles had the field goal, tied at 10, but again, the Redskins are threatening to score. Elsewhere right now, not the half, the Pittsburgh Steelers are upsetting the San Francisco 49ers. The Browns and the Saints are tied at 7. And there you see the Steeler-49er score. It is 17-3. The Steelers leading the 49ers. The Browns and the Saints are tied at 7. Cincinnati and Indianapolis. It is 13-7. The Bengals with the lead over the Colts. The Rams are shutting out the Oilers 13-0 in the second quarter. Tampa Bay, and the story here, Steve DeBerg with 4 touchdown passes, 27-3. Jets and Buffalo. The Jets have just gone ahead 14-7, and O'Brien has thrown 2 touchdown passes in that game. Miami and New England, 3 touchdown passes for Danny Marino. 21-14, Dolphins over the Patriots. Driving rainstorm, not slowing up Marino. Kansas City leading San Diego 10-0 there at the half. Detroit and Minnesota 16-10. The Vikings coming from behind. Wade Wilson at DJ Dozier for a touchdown short. a short time ago. And a battle of the field goals. The Cowboys and the Cardinals are tied at 3 in the second quarter. And we will continue with our coverage of the NFL today on CBS after these messages from your local stations.
Well, there's our score here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. And in the background, we have the University of Wisconsin lacrosse band, 63,000 people watching it here. And Joe Theismann, I noticed that you didn't say anything about Notre Dame beating Michigan because you didn't want those people in Michigan
I don't want to be mad at
angry at you, right?
That's right.
Everybody here in the Dome who roots for Minnesota thinks that they are very fortunate to be behind by 6 at this point.
By only 6. When you give up 3 interceptions like they did in the first half, 1 for a near touchdown, and having your defense go out and stop Detroit as they did, you've got to feel very fortunate if you're a Minnesota Viking.
Conversely, you folks in Detroit, I'm sure, are hoping that, you know, the Lions would have at least another 4 points from a touchdown instead of a field goal, as Eddie Murray missed that field goal of 54 yards right at the end of the half. There were 3 interceptions, and we can show one of them to you. Galloway is filling in on the left corner for Watkins, and he has acquitted himself quite well.
Well, there you see from the right of your screen, you're going to see Williams put pressure on Wade Wilson. Now that causes the ball to go high, and there's the interception by Galloway. Now as he moves down the field, you'll see as he heads towards the end zone, his left foot is going to go out right on the 4-yard line, right there.
I kind of thought he could have made it into the end zone without stepping out of bounds, but that's where Chuck Long did connect with Manley on the touchdown pass. I thought he was throwing that ball away, and there was
I really did too. It looked like a little bit of a prayer job. He threw it up, tried to get it out of the end zone. It went over the Minnesota Vikings guy's head, and bang, Manley's there for the touchdown. Like I said, sometimes you got to be lucky and not necessarily as good.
I think this is a good game for an opener for both teams, and I think we have a lot of excitement coming up before it's over, don't you?
Really do, and I think the Minnesota Vikings this half have to feel good about what happened. They've only given up 16 points when they could be down by 4 touchdowns instead of just 16 points. Detroit, on the other hand, when they get the opportunities, they're going to have to capitalize and put touchdowns on the boards, not field goals.
What do you think of Chuck Long? You're looking at him for the first time, are you?
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. And also, I think the Detroit fans have to feel like, well, Chuck Long, he's going to go out and quarterback. They're going to run the ball around him to get him feeling comfortable. That's not the case at all. They let him go out and put the ball in the air.
You get a runner like Jones.
Right.
Then you get James back into the lineup to do the blocking. You get a passer like Long. You've got something.
And you got Chadwick and Mulaney out there. I mean, you know, you've got a good offensive unit that can produce. The important thing is Detroit, I think, was overloaded last year and had to run the football. They weren't as proficient putting the ball in the air. Chuck Long has shown us today that he can go out and make things happen, which is even going to open up the running game more.
Well, let's hope, too, that Detroit doesn't lose their offensive tackle, Lomas, who is injured early in the first half.
That's right, and one of the developments last night, Harvey Salem has signed a contract, and he can play. Although he played guard last year, he can play tackle. So if Lomas Brown is going to be down for a while, which it looks like he might with that knee, they're going to get somebody back to fill in that offensive line spot with experience.
Good to be watching football again, isn't it?
It sure is. It sure is. I know baseball season's around, but it's nice to have football back.
After this word from your local station. Minnesota will get the second half kickoff, and there's Wade Wilson. He'll go right to work after Eddie Murray kicks it off with the Lions on top. Turnovers, Detroit none, Minnesota 3. Minnesota fully expected to win this game, Joe.
They did. You know, we talked to David Huffman in the locker room yesterday, and he said candidly, he says, we should beat them. There's no question. We should go out and beat them. We feel like we're a better football team.
What happened a year ago up here?
They felt like they could beat them as well, and that game came back to haunt them later on in the season very badly.
Here is Eddie Murray kicking off, and Greg Richardson has it taken away from him by Guggemos. He sails down the sideline. This is where the game started, with Detroit with a big kickoff return. Neil Guggemos returns the ball out across the 40-yard line to the 44 before Gary Lee shoved him out of bounds. That's not the way Minnesota wanted to start this half, allowing a 34-yard kickoff return.
That's right. Detroit now, the pressure's on their defense. Can they stop Minnesota's offense, who moved the ball down the field last time they had it? This is where your young football teams get a chance to mature in a heck of a hurry.
Ball at the 44. Anderson and Dozier in the backfield. Right into Steve Jordan. And the cutback move of Dozier was covered in good fashion by Detroit. Pickup of 2. Dennis Gibson, one of the inside linebackers, and a rookie out of Iowa State, was in on the tackle.
They really feel like that inside linebacker position where Gibson and Robinson are playing now, and of course the rookie Danny Lockett and Paul Butcher, the Tasmanian Devil, who's MVP of their special teams last year.
Who's calling the plays for Minnesota?
Who? Bob Schnelker, of course.
Second down. Here's a screen. And it is caught by Anderson. He is short of a first down by a yard. It was a good defensive play that held it up, and William Gay finally made the tackle.
And Michael Kofor got over.
Dennis Gibson.
And
Kofor slowed it down.
Right, he got over and took on both the offensive linemen. That's a key in breaking up a screen. If you can take on 2 offensive linemen, it frees up the rest of your teammates to come in. There you see it to your right of your screen. Kofor's right there. He'll react to the screen. Wilson has to loft the ball a little more. Now there, both offensive linemen have to take him on, allowing his team to get a lot of pursuit.
3rd down and 1, so a critical play earlier in the 3rd quarter. And on 3rd down, it's incomplete, and there's a flag. And it might be called against Williams, nailing the quarterback again.
No, I think it's going to be offensive holding this time, protecting the quarterback. Yep.
And it's holding. Well, that was a strange call on 3rd and 1.
Well, you know, they open up. They figure Detroit substitutes their goal line or short yardage defense if they spread them out.
Now, if Detroit turns this down, it's 4th down and a yard.
They'd have to refuse it, I think. If they're, make them punt the ball. Don't give them another 3rd down opportunity.
Offensive holding number 66. They declined a penalty. It's 4th down.
Terry Tausch was caught holding. He's the right guard. Paul Wiggins in your picture.
That's a good percentage play if you're Detroit. Make them kick the ball away or make them make a real tough decision on 4th down.
Frequently, Minnesota in the past, and this would be a critical spot to gamble on the field, they snap the ball to their fullback and rush the ball. They've done it more than once.
Yes,
this will be the first punt by Coleman. Studwell is the blocking back. And the snap by Wayne Jones. So there's no trickery involved, and Coleman aims for the sideline and doesn't get it there. That line drive kick is returned by Manley. He's out near the 30-yard line, so Detroit gets it. 31-yard kick and a 13-yard return. Some new players on the Detroit roster.
Yeah, both Reggie Rogers and Jerry Ball are playing. Danny Lockett, as we mentioned, a backup linebacker. Dennis Gibson, a linebacker. Gary Lee, a wide receiver. And Butch Wolf, of course, claimed actually from Cleveland, where he was sent from Houston. Had his best season back in '85 with Houston. Caught 80 passes. So he adds a veteran to the offensive backfield.
It is a 1st down at the Detroit 29. Let's check the approach of the Lions. In the air again. And Rubik dropped it. It was thrown a bit behind him. He well could have caught it. It was incomplete. Well, if you've got a quarterback that can throw the ball, go ahead and pat it.
Yep, and also one of the things they mentioned about Chuck Long is his arm may not be what Testaverde's is or Doug Williams is, but this young man is a very accurate passer. Now, he's had 2 passes to Rubik. Both of them have been dropped. One down near the goal line, and this one we just saw.
But he said his arm is good enough. He's not shy about it.
No, he certainly has the arm and the physical abilities to play that position, and he's proven it today.
Eric Sanders is playing the left tackle spot in place of Lomas Brown. Steve Mott over the ball. 2nd down. Turning upfield with Scott Williams. It'll be a 3rd down play after a 6-yard gain, and the tackle by Doug Martin. Neither team is really hyped up about the start of this quarter, and it's very quiet.
Yeah, well, it was the same way the football game started. You know, we sat up here and watched them come out on the field. They all sort of walked out. You know, nobody really excited. The fans have not had a chance to really get into this game yet either. Where earlier you saw in the first half, it can get pretty loud.
With Howard and Studwell, the linebackers out, Reggie Rutland and Neil Gugamos come in as extra defensive backs for the Vikings.
Ben Dreif over talking to Darryl Rogers, explaining something to him.
Kramer and Wilson talking it over. Vikings hope to stop him on third down and get the ball back. There's Chuck Long. There's Darryl Rogers.
Could deal with the headsets. When the referee goes from sideline to sideline, it sometimes has to do with the communication up to the press box. And so if one side is down, the other side has to take their headsets off and are not allowed that advantage. I'm not sure whether that's it, but sometimes that happens.
That's a good guess, I think, Joe.
Yeah, we can see the coaches taking the headsets off, so that might be the case.
Okay, so they'll have to play without the technology here. We have played only a couple of minutes here in the third quarter. Detroit hadn't been too hot on third down. Only twice in 7 tries have they made a first down. And this one is 3rd and 4. Crowd is really quiet. The blitz is on. Pass thrown up for Chadwick. He came back for it, and he caught it. He caught it over Wyman Henderson.
Well,
27-yard pickup. How many times do you see that underthrown ball caught?
That's just an excellent play. From the top left part of your screen, you're going to see the pressure put on Long. There comes Joey Browner. There comes John Harris. Now, he just hangs the ball up. Chadwick, very intelligent receiver. He jumps back. Henderson, of course, starting his first ball game, makes the reception. That's one of the areas that the Vikings were a little bit concerned about, was their secondary. They've got a lot of veterans. They have veteran years in Joey Browner and John Harris, but their cornerbacks, Wyman Henderson, of course, Carl Lee is nicked up, both relatively young.
So they were beaten on the blitz by Chuck Long and Chadwick. First down at the 39, and a timeout is called. Well, you don't like to see that, but Long didn't want to make the mistake. They told him, don't lose the football game, and his club is leading by 6 with 11:37 left in the third quarter. Darryl Rogers pacing the sideline, had a long talk with Bob Baker, the offensive coordinator of these Lions. He's the babysitter for Chuck Long.
He also had a short talk with Chuck Long. He said, look, you can't use these timeouts like you're picking mulberries.
Chadwick claims that he was held up and the official threw the flag. Now that might have looked like a delayed call with the flag, but the official has to see the fly of the ball and whether it could have been caught. And then he did throw it, and evidently Henderson latched onto Chadwick. Chadwick stopped and went again.
Illegal contact on the defense number 24. That's 5 yards. That's a first down.
Can't chuck him after 5 yards.
Well, yeah, and that becomes a defensive penalty, or a defensive holding penalty. There you see now Chadwick will run the little hook and little go, and you just can't do that. I mean, that's actually an excellent play by a defensive back because it's going to be a touchdown if you don't slow him up. So give him the 5 yards, go back and line it up again. Very good heads-up defensive play to stop a possible touchdown when a guy's going to run wide open past you.
When you're whipped, and it is at the 34-yard line. First down. Manley goes in motion. And the run by Scott Williams is good for a few. That'll keep the Vikings honest as Henry Thomas made the tackle after a 3-yard gain. Let's check the offensive line on now the defensive unit. There's Henry Thomas, number 97. He has Keith Millard alongside him. And Doug Martin is number 79. Chris Dolman moved from linebacker to defensive end is 56. They should be able to stop the run.
Detroit has totally taken the Viking fans out of this game with this type of offense.
It's like playing in Church here. Here's a catch by Manley. And that's good enough for a first down. So he can get that ball to the sideline. He had pretty good zip on that ball.
He certainly can. You're right. You know, that 10, 15-yard out is always the one that they say that's the one the quarterback has to make, and that's what tells you about a big league arm. Well, you want to see a big league arm. Here he is back in the pocket, looking downfield. He just sets his feet and fires it right into your living room. There's Manley on the catch right on the sidelines and out of bounds. Detroit just methodically moving the ball down the field.
They're really working on Henderson on the corner, aren't they?
And surprisingly enough, Minnesota has not put pressure on Long. He's had a lot of time to read the defense and make decisions and get the ball to receivers.
Here's a delay to Jones. He's spun around and buried back at the 25-yard. 2-3-yard loss.
That's the kind of pressure I think Minnesota's going to have to put on not only the running game, but the passing game as well. They're sort of letting Long stand back there and have his choice of receivers. You just can't do that, no matter how young somebody is.
Howard and Studwell made the tackle. Let's be quiet here and listen to this crowd. Brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, that's scary. It seems like you're playing, what, 50-some, 60-some thousand people and hardly a noise.
Second down, 13. Jones came back and caught it. That's one of the beauties of that player. He is tough. That's a 4-yard pickup. It's going to make it 3rd and long. 63,000 here.
63,000.
Must be thinking about baseball.
Quiet people. I know. I mean, the Minnesota Twins are doing quite well, but right now the Vikings are out on the field in front of them. You know, Jones, you don't necessarily think of a guy who runs the ball as proficiently as he does as a receiver, but last year he had 54 receptions.
Do we have a crowd noise record down there in the truck? Maybe we can play some.
They can't get it to register.
It's 3rd down and 9. Mark Nichols checks in as the extra receiver. Rubik, the tight end, is out. And the inside handoff is short of a first down as Scott Williams was carrying. Jesse Solomon covered it. There goes a flag. Who did what? There's a little exchange right at the end.
Now, the reason why they're going to call an ineligible man downfield is because even though the quarterback threw the ball underhanded, it is still a forward pass. Therefore, the lineman cannot continue down the field. And that's why you're seeing the signal. You'll see Ben Drive pat the top of his head, which is the signal for an ineligible man downfield.
So they explained it to Chuck Long.
There was an illegal man down the field. That was a forward pass. They're going to decline a penalty, and it's 4th down.
So that means Eddie Murray again on 4th down. He has kicked field goals of 24, 26, and 27 yards. And this will be his longest of the day, with Russell Erxleben holding the ball. This will be a 34-yard try.
Now, Eddie Murray's original holder was Eric Hipple. He hurt his thumb. Then Arnold, the other punter, was his holder. Now it's Erxleben, who's only been there a week, but doing a good job.
Boy, that Murray is so good. He makes it 19-10. He is 4 out of 5, and the one he missed was 54 yards.
Sensation Mats Wilander, the U.S. Open Final, live on CBS Sports. Next.
Eddie Murray has provided Detroit with 13 of their points, an extra point, 4 field goals. He'll kick to Greg Richardson. And there's the new rule that will be invoked again. It will come out to the 35-yard line, and the Vikings will go from there. Well, when football is over, you'll watch some tennis, the U.S. Open. This is the way Ivan Lendl got into the finals, handling Jimmy Connors. And his opponent, Wilander.
2 Swedes went at it yesterday.
2 good buddies, and Wilander won it, and we're going to have those two in the finals today on CBS. That last drive by Detroit followed a rather poor punt by Greg Coleman of the Vikings. 9 plays, 54 yards, and it's 19-10. And a sack, the first of the day. And a sack. That front three has been playing quite well, and this was Dennis Gibson, the rookie linebacker from Iowa State, number 98, who got his first in the big leagues.
Well, you know, you see him up on the line, up on the right side of your screen. Now, here, Wade Wilson, get rid of the football. I mean, just make a decision, get rid of the football. You're not going to help your football team on the ground. You have to take charge as a quarterback and make something happen. Whether it's good decisions or big plays, you still have to make something happen.
A loss of 8. Now this Viking team is looking rather flat to me. How about you, Joe?
Well, it's carried over, I think, from the fans as well. They need something to yell about.
And that
That's
one
not
was
it.
almost picked off. Now the fans are into it, but in the wrong way. James Griffin almost walked into that one. So it's 3rd down and long.
In visiting with the Minnesota Vikings over the last couple days, you get a...
You think we're going to see this guy?
I think if things continue the way they're going, you might just get him into the football game. Something for a spark. And this young man has definitely provided it, not only for the fans, but for his football teams this year.
Hassan Jones is the extra wide receiver as the Vikings go out of the shotgun on 3rd down. Need long yards. There it is. Carter. So Carter has atoned for 2 earlier mistakes when the ball was tipped off of his hands and went for interception, and he beat Dwayne Galloway over there on the corner.
Well, that's what happens. It's feast or famine when you blitz. That time Detroit said, okay, Wade Wilson seems to be a little bit under the gun. We're going to throw the kitchen sink at him and let's see what he does. All of a sudden, they run a simple corner pattern.
Were they blitzing?
Yes, they were. They brought everybody, all 9 players. The only 2 guys that were covered were the wide receivers. They blocked everybody and gave them a chance to throw the ball. Excellent throw, excellent route, and touchdown.
And just like that, Detroit, with all of their hard work and good work today, they're ahead by only 3. And now they're ahead by only 2. Let's watch the replay from the end zone.
There you see everybody coming right at Wade Wilson. Now he sets in the pocket and lays the ball out. This is a great throw because if he threw it flat, it would have been intercepted. But he hung it up over Galloway's head. Now Carter gets a chance for atonement.
Carter had 7 touchdown passes last year. This one was the longest of his NFL career, 73 yards. Here's Chuck Nelson kicking off to Gary Lee or Carl Bernard. And it is Gary Lee. Minnesota covered it rather well out to about the 23-yard line, and now we're getting a little crowd reaction.
Well, this is now a time in the game also where you get to see what a young quarterback has. All right, his team has just been scored on by a big play, which has answered some points that they've gotten. Now, how do you take charge? How do you keep your team up and say, okay, guys, let's go get some of this back? That's something you look for in a young quarterback, and it's like watching a young man mature through the course of this game. So far, Chuck Long has impressed the heck out of me.
Look at the right side of that offensive line of Detroit with Dorney and Stringer. They are big. Pass blocking. And Manley was playing sleeper out here on the sideline. Doug Martin was putting the pressure on. We have 8:14 left in the 3rd quarter here. Detroit led 16-10 at the half, and now you see the score 19-17. Detroit has intercepted 3 passes. Murray's kicked 4 field goals, but Anthony Carter just put the Vikings back in the game, catching one from Wade Wilson. Now the Viking defense wants to take over. They have Jimmy Giles in the lineup at the tight end spot, number 81. And he's on the left side. Long rolls right, gets rid of it, and he has a few yards on that one.
Jimmy Giles, of course, played the season last year after having just 3 days of work. This year he's had 2 days of work, so next year probably 1 day before he comes in. But
well, you could have suspected that one with him just into the game, right?
Yeah, well, a lot of times the guys bring their own plays in. You know, usually when they substitute a wide receiver or a tight end, they bring their own play in. Plus, they don't want to give him a lot of work because he is so new in and don't want to risk getting him hurt.
That's 3rd down and 3. Rutland and Gugamos are in defensively in the backfield for the Vikes. Out of the shotgun long, 3rd and 3. And it's intercepted. Running back Back with it is Gugamos. Ball's at the 17. You talk about playing center field.
That's exactly right. What happened there on that one is the Minnesota Vikings lined up 5 people down. There are 5 defensive linemen. Now, right in the right of your screen, you see number 56, Chris Dolman, start to rush. He comes back, and I think that confuses Long a little bit. And there Gugamo steps right in front of the receiver to make the play.
The ball's at the 17-yard line. Minnesota trailing by only 2. They have Dozier and Anderson. Misdirection play is good for about 6 or 7 yards with Dennis Gibson making the tackle.
It's one of those sprint draws where the quarterback starts off to the right and hands back to the back going the other way, almost like a sweep.
Play,
it is. It's a good misdirection, especially when you have a quarterback and an offense that moves their quarterback around. Wade Wilson, maybe not quite as nifty as a Tommy Kramer, but still able to run this offense very well.
A pickup of 7 to the 10. 2 tight ends, Hilton and Steve Jordan. Anderson. He had some blockers out in front of him. Anderson knew that he botched up a good play.
Well, instantly you see, as soon as the ball goes on the ground, once they slap their hands in disgust, they turn around and want to see what's out in front of them. I'm sure he didn't want to see what was out in front of him because there were a lot of purple shirts knocking down a lot of white jerseys.
Good pressure by the nose tackle.
Jerry Ball bringing all 296 pounds. 6'1", 296.
Wholesale changes for Detroit on defense, and timeout is called with 6:38 left in the 3rd quarter. Minnesota confronted with a 3rd and 3, and Wilson to the sideline to talk it over with Bob Schnelker.
Again, both teams, we saw Chuck Long do this 3 times so far in the ball game at a crucial time when his team can get points.
Now this is where Jerry Burns might make a suggestion.
Well, what he's doing is he's just talking to Wade Wilson, getting a feel for it. Bob Schnelker, just on the right of Jerry Burns, is the offensive coordinator. He will ultimately call the play with the glasses, but Jerry Burns wants to know what's going on. This is where the atmosphere or environmental coach can really say to his guy, look, tell them to get out there, give you some protection, and get the ball in the end zone. There you see Tommy Kramer facing us, or actually with his back to us. Everybody, see, when you're hurt and you're not playing, you always got to be around this huddle. First of all, because they know the television cameras are looking. And secondly, because you want to find out what the team's going to do, so, you know, you don't sound stupid when somebody asks you, are they going to do that? Say, sure. I would have done the same thing.
Some interesting scores popped up there, with New England again stymieing Miami. Up in Foxborough, ball's at the 10, and it's 3rd and 3. Wilson is 8 out of 17, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 8 out of 17. There's a flag. Hassan Jones was sailing into the end zone, and did they get after him?
They got Galloway again, number 40, picking on the young rookie over on the right side. He just sort of feels like he's being picked on. He said, come on, ref, I can bump him. That's got to be the loneliest position in football.
First down on a 1-yard line.
Interference in the end zone, the ball at the 1.
There he is, right on his nose. You see him. There he puts his hands on him. Now he's got to take his hands off. He can't continue to run down the field, and it doesn't do you any good when you're 6 yards deep in the end zone to show the referee you haven't got your hands on somebody. He's got to get his hands off him after 5 yards, or else that flag comes out. Particularly down in the end zone areas. That's where referees really focus in on the defensive backs.
Galloway, a veteran of the USFL. He played at Arizona State. He's been in the league a couple of years, but Hassan Jones got the better of him, and it's 1st and goal. Dozier, the tailback, already has a touchdown. He got in again. The ball comes loose, but that doesn't matter. It's a touchdown.
This is just big bodies on big bodies. You see how low everybody is. Now Dozier's just going to take right off. Now once that ball breaks the plane right there, it's a touchdown.
Smokes. He covered some ground.
He sure did. That always amazed me that guys could leap. Walter Payton is probably the best at it, but Dozier here has shown that he can get up in the air as well.
But Anderson out at San Diego can do the same thing.
He does a flip though. I mean, he just doesn't finish that way. He does a complete flip half the time.
Nelson tries to make it a 5-point lead. Coleman holding. 24-19 as Minnesota leads for the first time this afternoon. 2 touchdowns for the rookie, DJ Dozier. After the interception by Neil Gugamos, it took the Vikings only 3 plays to go the 17 yards. Take the lead for the first time today. Chuck Nelson kicks off to Carl Bernard or Gary Lee. And Lee goes over to take it from the 4-yard line. Tripped up with a good tackle downfield by Rick Fenny. Now you want to look at that number 31. He's a running back for Minnesota, and they think they're going to get a lot of mileage out of Fenny. They say he is a Larry Zonka type, and obviously he's a pretty good special teams player.
Obviously, he's an 8th-round pick. He even looks a little bit like Larry Zonka, they say. Has exceptional hands, as do all the Minnesota Viking backs, because their passing attack is so important to get the ball to the backs. There he is.
Fenny is a rookie out of Washington. They like him here. So the Lions are at their 24-yard line. And they won the draw to Jones. Things are getting tough for the Lions. You know what happened to them last year? They had some very costly turnovers, and they lost those 4 games by less than a touchdown each.
That's right, and each of them were caused by a punt return, fumble return, interception returns, fumble returns, block punts, so on and so forth. All those for touchdowns. So anytime that the Lions have turned the ball over, not good things have happened to them, and that has continued here in this game.
This is when Long has to take the bull by the horns and get something done.
This is where you get a lesson in leadership. Can you bring your ball club back? All you need is a good drive here to stop the floodgates.
Here's Jones being covered. Covered by the linebacker, David Howard.
Good read by Chuck Long, though.
Joey Browner putting pressure on. 3rd and 9 coming up. Jimmy Giles was in the lineup. He goes out now, and Howard comes out, and they put in the extra defensive back.
It seems like Minnesota has made the decision that they are going to try and put a little more pressure on Chuck Long, not let him stand back there and read the defenses. We'll take our chances, let our people cover, and see if you can get the ball off.
Mark Nichols is the 3rd wide receiver. Chadwick comes to the right. Manley and Nichols are to the left. Long needs 9 yards. Keith Millard and Doug Martin got in for the first sack.
Now talking to Floyd Peters and Keith Millard, they felt like Chuck Long did hold the ball a little bit longer than usual. You see him come from the top right of your screen. He goes down, but doesn't stop. He's the inspirational leader of that front 4. And there he goes, a fist in the air. We got him, finally. Finally they got him.
The punter for Detroit is Eddie Murray. Erxleben pulled a groin muscle earlier, and Murray has to kick. Let's see how well he does. Pretty good. And the return by Richardson. And a flag goes down. There's another new rule in the National Football League this year that nobody on the field on a kick return can block below the waist. In addition, there was an ineligible man downfield when Murray kicked the ball, and so the Vikings are going to make Murray kick it over again.
Are they?
That'd be my guess.
I don't know. I don't think so. I would, you know, having the ball in your own 48 is not bad field position. I'd take it right where it is.
Downfield, number 96, 5-yard penalty. They want to take him.
See, Ben's as surprised as I am.
Well, I thought that was a pretty good punt for Eddie Murray. I wonder if he can do it again.
Well, yeah, the other thing is they may now say, okay, we've seen what they're going to line up in. Let's go after him. He is a new kicker. He is a place kicker.
They didn't go after him that time.
I wouldn't be surprised if they try and go after him. It might, they put a little more pressure on, a little more heat. He's backed up on his own end.
This is not strange for Murray. He's been in the league for 8 years. When you can kick, you can kick. And now Richardson stands at his own 45 for the Vikings. All of the momentum has swung over to the purple guys.
They're pulling out. There they go. They're going to set up a return.
Another good kick by Murray. And pretty good coverage. Richardson from the 40. Taken down at about the 43. Eddie Murray bails out the Lions with a 46-yard punt. Next week on Saturday on CBS, it's Georgia and Clemson. They're both undefeated. It's tough to win at Clemson, isn't it?
It sure is. They've got William the Refrigerator Perry's brother there, and it's just that Death Valley is a tough place to go into. Right before we went to the Georgia-Clemson story here, you see Eddie Murray come over to Greg Coleman and say to him, look, punting's not that hard.
He kicked better than Coleman did.
He says, it's not that tough. You keep telling me it's tough.
Let's see what the Vikings do now with Leo Lewis in motion. And Dozier running, trying to turn the corner. He shows you another facet of his abilities. There's a flag down. Maybe you turned the corner because somebody was holding.
Yeah, well, either that or somebody just sort of took a piece of somebody's back. A lot of times when you see a whole bunch of players go down, you think somebody might be pushed, and I think that's going to be the case here.
There's Darryl Rogers. This game's slipping away from him, and a penalty is about to be assessed.
Trying to explain to the referee, says, you can use your hands. That's a new rule they've changed also. As offensive linemen can use their hands downfield.
Nine on a defense, hands in the face, 5-yard penalty, and that's a first down.
You can use your hands, but not in the smush.
Not on defense either. That's, there's a case where William Gay got his hands up a little too high on the face mask or up around the head area, and boom, 5-yard penalty.
They told us that Gay has been playing terrifically.
Oh, he's had a terrific camp. I mean, he realizes he's reaching that point in your career where you're starting to get pressed by they drafted Reggie Rogers #1, and he went out and wanted to prove to somebody that he's not ready to give it up yet. And a lot of times you see the veterans really, really come on for a couple, 2, 3 more years, and William Gay has met that challenge. 10 years in this business, and I'm going to tell you something. That guy has chased me all over stadiums.
Did he ever catch you?
Oh, many times. Too many times. He always was nice, though. He always picked me up.
Ball is at the Detroit 47, and a first down with 4:10 left in the third quarter. And a little comebacker for Steve Jordan. Most quarterbacks really don't even bother to try to fake the ball anymore on a handoff. They just drop back and forget that phase of it. They're looking downfield.
Well, they have to. A lot of that has to do with the speed of the defensive lineman. You really don't have time anymore to make that play action fake because the recognition of the defensive lineman and the speed have caused you to move in and out of the pocket a lot quicker.
Ball at the Detroit 38. They need some more breaks as they had in the first part of the game. Alfred Anderson plows in and comes very close to first down yardage. Anderson weighs 220. He's out of Baylor. Vikings playing without Darren Nelson. He has a knee. When do they expect him back, Joe?
Not too soon. I think they're saying for sure he's not going to play no matter what. I would say another couple weeks. And talking to the coaches, if DJ Dozier plays well in this game, they may hold him out for another week. Give it a good, solid chance to come back so they don't have a re-injury and then lose him for the rest of the year.
Minnesota leading by 5 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter and a first down at the Lions 36. What to do, doesn't he?
He sure can dance, I'll tell you that.
Look at the good block by David Huffman out in front of it.
Well, that's the big thing about this offensive line. You got Zimmerman at tackle, Huffman at guard, Loudermilk at center. These guys start moving the people out. And as we mentioned, Detroit finished 26th last year. You see the guards come around and they just kick people out. Look at that hole. Now he looks for some room, puts those little moves on, and fires those legs forward.
How about Leo Lewis mixing it up there?
Yeah, well, one of these, sure, I promised him I wouldn't call him little, so one of these shorter guys can really get in somebody's face by jumping.
First down at the 25. base is good for a yard.
Detroit's got to be careful right here. Minnesota's come out and they've run the ball, they've run the ball, they've run the ball. Now they're drawing all the linebackers up closer to the line. You got to be careful of that play action pass into the line of scrimmage and isolating one of those wide receivers down the field for 6.
On 2nd down and 9, there's Darren Nelson out of action with a knee, but in uniform. He'll get some pressure from Dozier. There's plenty of room for everybody. 2 tight ends, and the ball is dropped by Anderson. Incomplete. 3rd down. And Dennis Gibson with a hit, the rookie out of Iowa State. You've got to give him credit for even being there.
Absolutely. That's the one area they wanted to try and bolster a little bit with Jerry Ball and Dennis Gibson and Shelton Robinson right in the middle. There's a good job. Detroit's in a zone. Wade Wilson fades back. A nice hit, shakes the ball loose from Anderson.
3 wide receivers now on 3rd and 9. Extra defensive backs are in there for Detroit.
Now Detroit last time in this situation got burned for a touchdown when they blitzed everybody. Looks like they want to play back into a softer zone.
Pretty good throw to Lewis.
Right down the middle. That's what happens. You get somebody on your nose. There you see Ricky Smith on his nose. But Ricky Smith has backup help from Ivory Sully. He makes a little hesitation. You see the cornerback right in the middle. Sully got caught in no man's land.
He didn't know where to go.
His job is to protect those 2 cornerbacks and stay back. That time he got caught in the middle. It was a good job by Wade Wilson.
He wasn't deep enough?
He wasn't deep enough. You can't ever come up and let anybody get behind you if you're a safety. That's your job, your half of the football field. Nobody gets behind you.
30 to 19. 30 to 1. 31 to 19. With 1:23 left in the 3rd quarter. Lewis is the one who gave them the spark earlier when they were trailing 16 to 3. He helped them on a very good drive, and now he gets the touchdown. Let's harken back a few years to 1961. And Norm Van Bronckhorst was the head coach of the NFL's newest team, the Vikings, a bunch of cast-offs and rejects. And they shocked the league by beating Chicago in their very first game behind a rookie named Fran Tarkenton. Threw 3 touchdown passes. That was in 1961. 32,000 saw that game at Metropolitan Stadium. Who caught that pass, Joe?
Bob Schnelker caught the first pass in team's history, and that was the first one of Tarkenton's 342. A record I think will stand for a long, 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 long time.
There's one thing you have to admire about the Vikings here in this game was their patience. When they fell behind, they knew they were fortunate to be as close as they were, and they didn't panic. And what do you say for the Detroit folks? How did this game get away from them?
Well,
Joe?
what happened is earlier in this game, you saw the opportunities because of the miscues that Detroit had to put touchdowns on the board, not field goal. Credit has to go to Minnesota's defense for keeping Detroit out of the end zone, making them settle for field goals. You know, you give up so many field goals or get so many field goals, but it can't overshadow the touchdowns. Right now, the onus is on Detroit's offense to get some kind of drive and some points on the board. They've got to stop this flood through the dam, or else they're going to be blown away.
Carl Bernard took the kick at his 2. Came across the 20 to the 23, where he was tackled by Reggie Rutland. Following football, we're going to have the U.S. Open tennis action. Yvonne Lendl against Mats Wilander here on CBS. How you like the way I say Wilander?
I like that. I don't think it's going to matter really. I think Ivan is just.
You're booking Lendl, huh?
Yeah, I just think Yvonne. Excuse me. I'm pronounced it wrong. Yvonne, please don't hold it against me, Yvonne. But I think he's just got too good a game all the way around. Forehand, backhand, nets, quickness, does everything.
Well, the Lions had to punt the last time they had the ball. Here's Jones for a couple. And the tackle by Chris Dolman, who's moved out of a linebacker spot. In baseball, Detroit and Milwaukee are scoreless in the 3rd. New York leading Toronto 4-3 in the 5th inning. Minnesota leading Cleveland 3-1 in the 6th. That's all we have for you on the baseball front. The Cardinals and the Mets were delayed by rain and starting. Jimmy Giles in at tight end. 2nd and 8. 37 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Boy, what a gamer that guy is. Jones for a first down. 19-yard pickup by James Jones. 230 pounds out of Florida. And we might have one more play before the end of the 3rd quarter.
They're going to let it run down. See,
okay.
Paul Wiggins in the top of your screen and Floyd Peters with the headset and the glasses on, the dark glasses, I should say. He's not happy about it.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter with a score. Minnesota 31, Detroit 19. We now pause for a word from your local station. We start the 4th quarter.
Yeah, there's Floyd Peters. I mentioned before he wasn't happy. He doesn't like to see his team run on like that, just with that big play that Jones made before the end of the quarter.
Out to the 44 of Detroit, and here he comes again. He's a mover, isn't he?
Oh, he just picks him up and lays him down. You know, it's interesting. Detroit looks like they've changed their approach. For 3 quarters, they've come out and thrown the football and thrown the football. Now they get down by 12, and they're starting to run. I don't quite understand what they're doing. It's a little confusing. I mean, they're playing really into Minnesota's hands. They want them to eat up the clock now.
Minnesota outscored the Lions 21-3 in the 3rd quarter. Minnesota's had 3 turnovers. Detroit 1. Fumble, and Long is hit immediately. He fumbled the snap, and somebody pounced on him. Henry Thomas was on top of him.
I think it's a little bit of the youth, and it's a little bit of a young quarterback. What happens is he's not ready for the snap. Obviously, he got to the snap count, and the center just it looks like he snapped the ball a count early. A lot of time the centers have to be responsible for the calls up front, and they do forget the snap counts. I'm not sure which one's going to take responsibility for it, but from the looks of it, looks like Mott might have snapped the ball a little bit earlier than was called for.
3rd and 10. Minnesota by 12. And a flag is down as the pass is caught by Mark Nichols. I say this for that Long. He stands in there.
He does. Looks like it's going to be against Reggie Rutland, 48, possibly against Pete Manley on the outside.
The referee will tell us here in a moment. That's Ben Dreith. He has in his crew Dave Moss, Norm Craigseth, Dick McKenzie, Al Jury.
Illegal contact number 48. They take the penalty. That'll be a first down. 5 yards and a first down.
Tom Finken and Dick Dolak are the other officials.
Now you see it, the receiver on the inside is going to catch the ball, but there's the illegal contact downfield by Rutland on Manley. Just that little bit of a hand, and they throw the flag. So instead of having a 4th down in a yard or 2, they wind up with a 1st and 10 on the 48.
First down it is. Reggie Rutland was called. He's a rookie out of Georgia Tech. First down play, and they stay on the ground to Jones. He cuts it back, and he might have lost a yard. Well, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York for an NFL update.
Jack, the individual story of the day. Steve DeBerg, who is quarterbacking Tampa Bay, has thrown 5 touchdown passes of 11, 5, 11, 2 and 2 yards. Next week, it's Chicago and Tampa Bay. The Bucs lead. Back to Jack.
Okay, Brent, that Tampa Bay-Chicago game will be the doubleheader game on CBS next Sunday.
You bet. That ought to be a great contest. You know, they've settled in Tampa Bay with their quarterback, and in Chicago, Tom Sack's taking over the reins from McMahon at this point.
Boy, Minnesota's covering everything. That time it was Henry Thomas, number 97, the rookie out of LSU. 6'2", 263. Boy, they seem to draft very well up here in Minnesota.
They sure have. They've made some good decisions, and they just move people around. You know, David Howard has taken over the left linebacker spot, which has allowed Chris Dolman to come over and play the defensive end. Henry Thomas has come in and put pressure on, replacing Tim Newton. So they're just moving people around.
The offensive coordinator's kind of taken the pass away from Chuck Long, haven't they?
Well, I don't know whether they've taken it. Yeah, the offensive coordinator for Detroit seems to be doing a better job defensing them than Minnesota has. They're, you've got to throw in long situations. It makes it tough.
Here's a comebacker. There's a flag down. The distance is not long enough for a first down, but a good throw by Chuck Long. Pete Manley hauled it in. He was covered by Henderson.
They've got the spot marked, and there's the signal.
And then nothing worse, is there? Instead of it being 4th and 2, where Detroit might have had to gamble, trailing as they are by 12 points.
Holding number 77. They're taking a penalty. 10 yards. 3rd down.
77. I don't have one of them.
I think they're talking about 71, not 77. Those referees, they see a 7. You'll see it at the top of your screen. Doug Martin, number 79. See Stringer's hand? See how he gets locked up? Got the right hand on the outside. Can't do that. That's like a big message to the referee. It says, I've got him, and they throw the flag.
So they put the ball all the way back to the 35. And it's 3rd down and 23.
Well, this is where you go to the coach and sort of ask him for one of his miracle plays. Give me something good in this situation.
3 receivers, Manley, Nichols, and Chadwick. 4-man rush by the Vikings. Well, they got a lot of it back, but not enough for a first down. It's 4th down and 4. Now, if they want to gamble, they might have to do it here, but Murray, who's been punting, comes on the field.
I think you got to take a chance.
I would.
You're a young football team. You're down by, you're down by 12. Why not try it? But obviously, they're not going to. They're going to put Murray out to punt.
The reason I would have gambled myself is that lately Minnesota has been unstoppable with the ball.
That's true.
That's the big thing.
You want to keep it out of their hands. There's 11 minutes to go in the game. You've got to make up some points. Why not take a chance? Your football team's young. They're learning. It's a great boost if they can make it.
So Eddie Murray will punt the ball. He just boots it high, looking for coverage and a good bounce, but he gets a bad bounce, and there's a flag. And another flag. Leo Lewis was downfield, and I think somebody picked him off.
You just can't do that. The guy has to have a chance, even though it goes over his head. You still have to give him a chance to handle the ball. You just can't run over him because you see it going past him.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Interference for the opportunity to make the catch. A 15-yard penalty, and a 1st down, and a timeout.
There you see him, number 83, Gary Lee, just flies right into him. Even though the ball goes over his head and it's nowhere near him, he still has to have the opportunity to make a play.
So a 15-yard penalty, and the Vikings have good field position. Here's our Seagram's Coolers game summary for you. It was a turnabout by the quarterback, Wade Wilson. He had a bad first half, Joe, and a good second half.
They had a real tough first half. Anthony Carter goes out and has 2 balls hit him in the chest, and they wind up with interceptions. Then all of a sudden he turns around, makes a long touchdown reception, and the only thing that Wade Wilson can say is thank you very much. Here's the play. You see him, excellent throw, up high, not real pretty a spiral, but it doesn't matter when it winds up on the board with 6. 73 yards.
Wayne Galloway was chasing that play. Dennis Swilley is in there at the center spot, number 67 for the Vikings. They're at their 27-yard line. And a reverse to Dozier. Almost like a Statue of Liberty, and a first down at the 41.
We saw Detroit run that play earlier down inside the 20. Now Minnesota comes back with their own version of it. I guarantee you, watching DJ Dozier run on the football field, Darren Nelson's knees starting to feel a lot better in a hurry.
Dozier has rushed 10 times for 55 yards. That was a 14-yard jaunt.
You asked before how long you think it'll be before Darren Nelson will get back in the game. We see him on the sidelines stretching his knee. I think he'll be back.
See, this is why I would have gambled had I been Detroit rather than punt the last time.
I couldn't agree with you more.
They're trailing by 12 points. They're not sitting on those 12 points. Anthony Carter with a first down at the 40. Bruce McNorton made the tackle.
That was very similar to the play earlier in the game when it hit him in the chest and bounced up for the interception. You'll see him go down about 8 yards, plant that right foot, and boom.
How do you stop that?
You can't. Not if you're in a soft zone like that. Now, he does a good job of running with the ball, and he gets stuck right there by McNorton. Says that's as far as you're going, Anthony Carter.
First down at the 40-yard line of the Lions.
Wade Wilson doing a good job, has done a great job of hanging in this whole game.
Alan Rice in the backfield at the tailback spot. Makes his way for 2 or 3. We have 9-10 left in this game. We have some scores of other contests for you. 31-19 the score, with the Vikings on top and on the move. Philadelphia gets back within 7 in the 4th quarter. And Tampa Bay demolishing Atlanta.
5 touchdown passes by DeBerg.
The Jets by 10 in the 4th quarter over Buffalo. And Dallas leading the Cardinals by 10. Here's Dozier again. Well, I'd say that his debut has already been a successful one.
Oh, absolutely. He does so many things so well. I mean, the way he protects the ball, the way he stops on a dime, makes cuts. They built AstroTurf for a man like him, just to stop and start and move quickly. Earlier in the game against New England in the preseason, I saw him come to a complete stop, leapfrog over a defensive back, and continue to run.
It is 3rd down coming up for the Vikings at the 33-yard line. 3rd and 4.
This is the biggest play in the game for Detroit's defense. If they can stop them here and mount a drive, they can get themselves back in the contest.
Rice plants and catches the first down, and the drive continues to the 25-yard line. And pretty good pass protection, Joe.
Well, we talked about, the ability of the Vikings to get the ball to their backs, but they can only do it when you get good protection. There you see that line: Tim Irwin, Terry Tausch, now Dennis Willey at center, David Huffman and Gary Zimmer. Give them a chance. There they are. They're the 5 guys up front doing a good job. Wilson sets very comfortably and makes the delivery. That's a nice, comfortable. That's called a safety zone for a quarterback. You've got those 3 or 4 yards from the guys at you. You got to feel good in the pocket when you have that much room.
With 2 tight ends, they stay on the ground with Anderson, and they take the clock down near the 7-minute mark. Minnesota would like to get more than the 3 points. A touchdown would just about do in the Detroit Lions. Well, they're ahead by 12 now, right?
Yep.
And even a field goal makes it 15.
Makes it 2 touchdowns to catch it.
Any points are a killer. 2nd down and 8. So they've got to get the ball, the Lions do, somehow. Anderson slides through. And the flag goes down. That'll be a first down, just counting the flag. Or was it a piece of equipment?
No, it's just
it was a piece of equipment that flew down, and it is a first down. I don't want to say I told you so, but this is why I wouldn't have punted a while ago.
I absolutely agree with you, Jack. It's Minnesota has just really taken the ball almost every series in the second half and managed to do something with it. Jerry Burns got to be breathing a lot more comfortably than he was in the first 3 drives of the game.
Dozier's in the backfield. He has 2 touchdowns today. Made a pretty good block there. And Alfred Anderson ran with the ball. One thing they told us was that Dozier wasn't a very good blocker. But he made a pretty good block there, and Anderson picked up 7, and Dozier comes off of the field right now. They said he has to learn that phase of the game, and that's not unusual.
Yeah, but it's also funny how when you get into the game itself, sometimes in practice you're a little reluctant to stick your head in, even in an exhibition game. Once you get into when they count, that's when you really fire it in. He's proving he's a complete back.
Already leading 31-19. Minnesota has 2nd and 3 at the 5. Rice or Anderson. And he got only a yard. What Minnesota wants to do here is make sure they hang on to the ball and get some points, even if only a field goal, to make the lead 15.
That's right. The clock has become their ally at this stage of the game. 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the game. Bob Schnelker with the glasses, not the headset on your left, calls the plays.
Oh, we've talked so much about Minnesota. What do you think of the Lions? What do you think is going to happen to them when they next go to work in their game at the Raiders?
I think they're going to get another lesson against a very good football team, but I'm excited for the Detroit fans and for the Lions from what I've seen on the field. What's confused me is why they seem to change their game plan the second half of the game, actually the latter part of the third quarter and fourth quarter, and start to run the ball more once they were behind.
Dozier was really tripped up by William Graham. Here comes the field goal unit on. They want the 3 points. The fans want him to go for the touchdown. That shows you how much they know.
Well, you see, the thing is Jerry Burns continue. You know, he goes by the old coach's adage: the fans don't fire. The fans will get you fired. They won't keep you hired. So he has to go with the percentages, not with sentiment.
Wayne Jones will snap the ball. Greg Coleman will hold it. At the 12, it's a 22-yard try. 3:45 remaining in the game. The kick is good. 34-19. And all the Lions can do is work the ball with 3:43 left. Well, if my father looked like that, I wouldn't go home.
Now, if you were a Viking, would you want to save that woman?
Here is the kickoff to the 3-yard line to Gary Lee. Across the 25 to the 27. NFL next week. The NFL today at 12:30 Eastern Time. The doubleheader game is Tampa Bay. They're big winners today against the Bears, who play the Giants tomorrow night.
Also, a good decision, I think, by Coach Ditka to put Jim McMahon on IR, give him a chance to heal, let Tomczak know that he's the leader of that football team. I think it's very important going into this game that you know who your leaders are.
Hank Stram and I will broadcast that Bears game tomorrow night on CBS Radio. But it's a big doubleheader day on CBS next Sunday. And we wonder if Tampa Bay can compete with the Bears. Long through behind the receiver, Carl Bernard.
You see what he's doing? He's signaling. This is another lesson. He says, wait a minute, come here. Let me explain this to you. Once you make your turn, stop and stay still. Don't slide from side to side, because where I see is where I'm going to throw the ball. He's got to take charge. Now, this is a game within a game. The football game, they're down by 15 points, but now the quarterback can learn and develop his game within this one.
The extra backs are in there for the Vikings. Came back with the very same pattern, and he hit Bernard with that pass that he missed earlier.
That's right. He just explained to him, look, sit right there, I'll get you the ball. And it's important. I like his poise. I like his maturity as a young quarterback.
We have third down coming up and a discussion on the field.
I have an injured player. Darryl Rogers looking on. Now this is like a 20-second injury clock. That's Mott, the center. Steve Mott, the center.
Earlier, Lomas Brown, the starting left offensive tackle, was injured. Mott's 270. The right guard, Keith Dorney, is 285. Rich Stringer is 285. He's at the right tackle spot. And they're checking out Steve Mott.
And the guy who comes in and plays for Mott at center is Kevin Glover, who you will remember earlier in this game caught a touchdown pass, but it was nullified because he didn't report.
That's right. But the Lions would like to have those points. Mott's going to walk off. Look what Tampa Bay is doing to Atlanta.
When's the last time Tampa Bay scored 48 points? I don't think ever, to be honest.
Then you saw Pittsburgh scoring first on a recovered fumble, hanging on to their advantage over the 49ers. Here's the new center, Kevin Glover. Third year out of Maryland. And he has to snap from the shotgun position on third down and 2. There's a screen. And let's see what kind of yardage they give him. It's very close as Bernard caught the ball.
There we go.
Here's a little tangle with Browner. Turn him loose. And Dorney.
That's more out of frustration, I think.
I know one thing. That's the only place where Browner would fight Dorney is out there on the football field.
You bet.
See what kind of yardage they give the Lions. Even if they didn't make it, it'll be 4th down and they'll have to gamble. It is a first down.
Now you see Joey Browner at the top of your screen. Now there, Keith Dorney continuing to block him away, and Joey Browner didn't like it. So he just jumped right up and got his. I think the little guys take on the big guys just out here just to sort of prove that you're, tough.
Yeah.
They walk off the field. When it's all over, you say, geez, I'm really sorry I did that.
First down for the Lions. Let's see if they can mount a drive and have something to hang their hats on here. Look out, kid. Out here to Jones. Boy, he's tough to hit. He's tough to take down. He was run out of bounds by Jesse Solomon. Stops the clock with 2:23 remaining. Cincinnati had their hands full as we get a final score. They won the game, but by only 2 over Indianapolis.
23-21, huh?
And a lot of finals will be pouring in here, and the folks at CBS will keep you up to date. We also have tennis. Flag goes down, and a first down completion by Long. There is a flag. The pass caught by Jeff Chadwick. And what do we have, Ben? It's a motion call against the Lions.
Well, the first half they had everything go their way, and here in the second half they've had a rash of
motion. Offense. 64. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
They've had that rash of penalties, and of course the interception with the turnovers.
Instead of having the ball at the Minnesota 45, it's marked back 5 yards to the 38. Second down and 15. And the Jets hanging on by 3 at Buffalo. And the 2-minute warning comes about. So we have 2 minutes left in this game. The Vikings lead by 15. The Lions have the ball. 34-19 is the score.
Green blitzing on the outside, and specifically he goes inside and runs through a would-be tackler and finally makes about 3 extra yards.
I'll put a little cluster on your helmet. You said you expected a high-scoring game, and we have it.
Well, thank you, but it just every indication went that way. Detroit wanted to come out and open it up a little bit, and Minnesota they knew that they played a conservative game last year, and they weren't going to do it again.
I want to say one thing about Chuck Long, and there is Jerry Burns, the head coach. He's happy, but his face doesn't know it. He's leading by the score of 34-19 with 2 minutes left. Nobody in the Detroit organization is saying that Long has stopped learning or doesn't have anything else to learn.
Oh, absolutely not. I think this is just the beginning phases for this young man. This is his first big football game. It's on the road, and he's done a very fine job, I think, handling this football team. Throwing the ball well.
Throws, and that one is complete, and that's going to be a first down to Pete Manley, who has a touchdown today for the Lions, along with the 4 field goals of Eddie Murray. They worked a lot on Henderson over there on the left corner of the Vikings today. The winner has been determined, but the final score has not been.
This is very important for Detroit to get some points on the board somehow. See him move around. Be careful.
And a good tackle from behind by Keith Millard. Minnesota is not making wholesale substitutions. They're keeping their people in there. And Millard, number 75, made that tackle. He's a 270-pounder out of Washington State. And the clock takes us down near the 1-minute mark. That was a tough catch and good for a few yards by James Jones. Boy, what an athlete. What an athlete. Big as he is, at 230 pounds, to get down and catch that ball. And we have a timeout called by the Lions with 50 seconds left. 34-19 Vikings. Third down play coming up for Detroit. 3rd down and 6. And that's caught for most of it by Bernard. Minnesota is playing without Millard. He is along the bench at the moment. Here's a 4th down play, and the Lions are going to go for it. It might be the heat more than anything else, or exhaustion, as Keith Millard sprung a leak here. Here's a 4th down play for the Lions. Long out of the shotgun. And you see the time remaining in the clock running. Long gets the 1st down. It was hauled in by Gary Lee, the rookie. The rookie out of Georgia Tech, as he caught one.
Now they got to put the ball in the end zone. They're out around the 31-yard line. You have 14 seconds to go. You've got to take as many shots as you can down the field. You want to get some points on the board. You just don't want to settle for a long drive at the end of a ball game, even though the score's been decided.
I have all the scores for you of all the other games coming up here. And this one comes to a conclusion. Long through it, and it is picked off by Henderson. Henderson had been picked on a lot today. He got a little revenge right there with an interception. It's the 2nd of the day against Chuck Long, and it'll come out to the 20-yard line. And with 6 seconds left, I guess we have our final score of 34-19. We're still hopeful of bringing you some tennis action in the U.S. Open, as well as our post-game show with the NFL Today with Brent Musburger. As Dick Vermeil in the studio for some expert opinion. Give me the Greek.
Chuck Long has nothing to apologize for today. I think he did an excellent job through this football game, and it's really shown that he has the ability to play in the National Football League. And he's going to be one of these young rising stars, and Detroit can be proud of him.
Well, you know, there's Chuck Long.
Eric Hipple
talking to him.
I think he's explaining that same thing to him. He says, look, you did a good job today. Just part of the learning process, and Chuck's saying thanks.
And there's Wade Wilson. He was happy they gave him the chance in the second half, and he came through, responded well after being intercepted 3 times in the first half. We have scores coming up on the post-game show.